Gaming news today is all about change. First, we have reliable insiders and a lot of corroboration out there from the gaming press, all but confirming that games like Halo and Gears of War are headed to the PS5 and the Nintendo Switch 2. Beyond just those titles, we're hearing about Forza and other big-name Xbox titles that will be landing on consoles that were once considered their rivals. What does this mean for Xbox's publishing future? They're bringing their games to unprecedented amounts of platforms, and I have a video right now live on the channel. If you haven't checked it out, always make sure and watch those uploads. They usually springboard into a live discussion like this. The video is basically saying that there is nothing sacred anymore for Xbox. Now, related to this, though, we're also hearing about Final Fantasy games that will be finally making their way to Xbox, which may be a little too late for the long-standing Xbox fans as they watch some of their fan favorites jump over the fence. Now, lastly, we have a Nintendo insider who's been pretty good at making predictions, and they're predicting the Nintendo Switch 2 announcement date along with the release date. And Joker Quinn and DK Baker are competing for the first gifted member of the day. That's a great way to support the channel, is to gift members to others. If you can afford your own membership, make sure to pick Member Plus. It's $6. Clicking join is a huge way of how this channel is supported. So consider doing that. If you've never done that before on YouTube, give it a try. All right, so let's dive into this. Okay, I broke down my opinion on this, but I didn't really give the news. Okay, it would be hard to miss this news over the weekend, but seemingly every big title that Xbox owns is headed to PlayStation or the Nintendo Switch 2 or both. It all started with the podcast where Nate the Hate, a reliable Xbox insider, said that Flight Sim 2 and that the Halo Master Chief Collection will be launching on the PS5 and the Switch 2. Now, Jez Corden from Windows Central, he chimed in on the tweet and he said way more than that. Now, in recent weeks, there was a tone shift from some of the Xbox guys, and I even noticed a tone shift from Jez Corden when he remarked about Fable being very expensive and was likely going to land on PS5 as well. And I basically said, listen, I think someone gave him the nudge. There's somebody internal at Xbox or Microsoft that he gets his information from, and they're like, listen, everything is going, because his entire tone on this shifted. There were a lot of Xbox talking heads as well, middle of last year, saying that the big first-party titles wouldn't be going, that these were like small B-tier level games like Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves, and that, you could get your pitchforks out when the big games started to go. But the list of games just continued to grow, and then this sort of started spreading like wildfire, and more outlets started weighing in. Insider Gaming reported that, quote, new report suggests that Hellblade 2 and Gears of War will be making their way to PlayStation 5 later this year, and they followed it up by saying, according to a new report from Windows Central's Jez Corden, who corroborated yesterday's rumors that Halo the Master Chief Collection and Microsoft Flight Sim would be making their way to other platforms. So, what's coming and when? Well, in the new report, Corden states that Hellblade 2, Age of Mythology, and potentially Gears of War 1 Ultimate Edition are also slated for PlayStation 5 later this year. Now, I saw somebody claim on Twitter, I was not able to verify this, I was short on time, but they alleged that Nate the Hate believes some of this will actually be announced at the Nintendo Direct. I'm going to give you a date on that in just a minute from one of the insiders that are out there. And we have another rumor here in relation to that. Nate the Hate, same source here, saying, I've been told the Nintendo Switch 2 will be announced on Thursday, January 16th. They reveal more hardware and software with games being revealed at a later date. So I don't know if that's going to actually be the time where they announce any of these Xbox games coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, leaker Ecstasis weighed in and said, Nate the Hate confirms the information I mentioned that has been done. Work bringing Forza Horizon 5 to PlayStation 5. I wouldn't be surprised if it launches in 2025, though perhaps the cross-platform ambition will go straight to Forza Horizon 6 with a tentative cross-platform launch on day one. So we've got multiple people weighing in. I mean, everything, Forza, Gears, Hellblade, it just doesn't seem to matter. Everything under the sun is going to make its way to PlayStation, okay? So make sure and check out my video called Nothing is Sacred. I go through a lot of opinion and thoughts on what this could mean. I also made some observations about the timing of all of this. this all made landfall in sort of the social gaming community space the day after the Xbox Developer Direct date was announced. So suddenly, mysteriously, all of these Xbox insiders flood the internet with claims about Halo, Gears, and basically everything coming to PlayStation and the Nintendo Switch 2. It just seems a tad convenient. Now, potentially related to things at the Developer Direct, or at the very least the Nintendo Direct, maybe there will be announcements at these events. I'm not sure. The big question here is, when will this be announced and who will do it? I put a poll up on my channel. Are they going to have Phil Spencer announce this? Sarah Bond? They like to use Jeff Keighley. They had him do the Indiana Jones. Maybe the studios themselves will make these announcements, or maybe they'll just let Nintendo and PlayStation announce this. I have no idea. But this is not the only big change coming. We are seeing other games move around, and Final Fantasy is coming to Xbox. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Remake, that is. According to the same guy, Nate the Hate, FF7 Remake will be coming to the Xbox and the Switch 2 in 2025. FF7 Rebirth will come in 2026. Now, the surprise here for me was not Xbox. We were already hearing rumblings about this. Seeing the Nintendo Switch 2 mentioned really makes me wonder about that thing's potential power and performance if it's going to be getting Final Fantasy VII Remake this year. Seeing the Nintendo Switch 2 mentioned, it's really, I think, a cause for curiosity for me. It also seems that devs and publishers are taking the Nintendo Switch a lot more serious this time around because, Bobby Kotick famously said that was a bad judgment. They really, really underestimated the first Nintendo Switch, and that thing just recently crossed like 150 million units sold. I believe it's the second or third most sold gaming piece of hardware in history. So I think that's an interesting development that they're going to get FF7 Remake running on that. Very curious what that's going to look like. And in the vein of the Nintendo Switch 2, we have more sources now kind of corroborating. We had Nate the Hate just say it, but Tom'sGuide.com said Nintendo is set to reveal the Switch 2 on January the 17th with a launch scheduled for March the 3rd, according to a noted leaker, Average Lucia Fanatic, an anonymous tipster who accurately leaked the PS5 Pro and Nintendo Alarmo last year. So within a matter of days, some very huge things could happen. The Nintendo Switch 2 could be announced. Major Xbox titles could be announced as coming to the Switch 2, which then may lead to announcements about those games also coming to the PS5, and a major Final Fantasy game could be announced as coming to the Switch 2 and the Xbox as well. Now, the insider went on to say the following. As for the games, the insider's post mentioned two major launch titles, Mario Kart 9, Red Dead Redemption 2. They also teased an announcement trailer for a new 3D Mario game could be on the horizon, potentially settling the stage for the console's future library of titles. So it sounds like Nintendo wants a full court press here. They want first-party games, they want third-party games for the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2, if this insider is correct. As I said, today's gaming news is just all about change. It seems like nothing will quite look the same once we sort of roll credits on 2025. These are not just rumors about things being worked on. These are not just rumors about games that are in development. These are games that are either already out, already announced, or in the market right now. And the rumors are that these games will be coming to PlayStation and the Nintendo Switch 2 this year in 2025. So 2025 is like the end of an era for Xbox, seeing a title like Gears of War especially, and Halo. I mean, I really do think Halo is the final straw for some of the more long-standing Xbox fans. It just continues to beg the question, why on earth would you get an Xbox? Why would you, decide to invest in that ecosystem at this time? Because there is just so many reasons now to either be on PC or PlayStation. So I get the frustration from the Xbox guys. I got there before a lot of you because I saw the direction that they were going and I didn't like it. So if you feel that way and you feel frustrated by stuff that they're doing, you're welcome to come here and voice that frustration, because I think more and more there's going to be a lot of fans that feel like it's time to either jump to PC or PlayStation. And with the Nintendo Switch 2 on the horizon, another great additive, piece of hardware for your for your home gaming experience. Now, I got another game here to show you for your wish list and your radar. I try to put a game on your wish list and your radar every day, and this one is called Atomfall. And this one looks like a game I might enjoy, but people are kind of going nuts for this game, and it's because it has that very Fallout vibe. This is coming to old and current gen Xboxes and PlayStation as well as Steam, with a launch date right now that is right around the corner, March 27th. Now, many are looking to this game to kind of scratch that Fallout itch. In a brand new gameplay or reveal trailer, they say that, quote, "We unveil the dangers and mysteries awaiting you in our gripping new single-player survival action game, Atomfall. Atomfall is inspired by the real-life events of the 1957 wind-scale disaster, and the story picks up 5 years later in a fictionalized quarantine zone that encompasses rolling countryside, valleys, caves, and even a picturesque English village." So be sure to wishlist this one. Keep an eye on it, especially if you are a Fallout fan. A lot of people are kind of coming out of their skin for this one, and I was kind of surprised by that. But I have to remember, there are people who really love Fallout, and they're kind of wanting another one, and Atomfall may be that game for you in the meantime while you wait. So just to recap, more and more reliable insiders and sources weighing in and confirming that everything is going to PlayStation from Xbox, as well as the Nintendo Switch 2. I think that was probably the most surprising thing about all of this to me. I was not surprised that Xbox wants to put their big titles on PlayStation. It'll be an easy fit. Like, I could see Gears of War doing incredibly well on PlayStation. Seeing the Switch 2 in the mix so much kind of has me excited for the Switch too. Like seeing Final Fantasy VII Remake in there, and then obviously games like Halo and Gears. It's like, okay, well maybe this thing is really going to be better than the first Switch by a bigger margin than maybe some people were expecting. We'll obviously have to wait and see. I don't want to get everybody's hopes up, but seeing those games jump around and jump to different platforms is surprising, and we may know about the Switch 2 by the end of this week, so keep it here for all the greatest and latest in gaming news coverage. And that's the news for now, and now it's time for the discussion. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you guys so much for starting off the day on that video that we did. I felt really good about that video. I liked the script, I liked the feel. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Nothing is sacred. If you leave a comment, you may get featured in this video as well and this live stream. So thank you so much. Take a quick second and make sure that you have smashed the like button. Make sure it saves your little thumbs up. That helps this live stream find more people. Excuse me. And I do have to thank some people here who are already doing fan funding. Han shot first, and so did you. And I'm sorry, DK Baker. Joker Quinn shot that first gifted member, but then DK Baker came behind, and then Pimp Shrimp came behind with a renewal and said, "I'm doing my part. Member Plus counts. Make sure you guys upgrade." To Member Plus. Make sure you upgrade to Member Plus, man. That is a huge help, and then it counts every single time you renew and put the message in chat. FCat with 2 months of Member Plus says, "If Halo comes to PlayStation, we can officially stop calling it Xbox. It'll be Microsoft Gaming at that point." And that bumps the line to 5. Color X with 3 months says, "PC's the real winner. No exclusives worth buying a console to play." You're welcome to have that perspective. I think that Nintendo's going to have incredible exclusives, and so does PlayStation. There's still plenty of games that you're either going to have to wait on or maybe just never get on PC. I think PC is a perfectly legitimate choice, but to say that there's no exclusives worth buying when the Switch 2's around the corner, I think you're getting a little ahead of yourself there. Trekkie83 with a Member Plus bumps the line to 7, and then it goes to 8 because XCal. And Trekkie says, "Sup, Lono in chat, happy Monday." And XCal doesn't just renew and bump it to 8. He bumps it to 9 with a gifted. And I forgot to set the Super Chat goal. I'm going to set that now. Every 5 Super Chats, I gift 5 members. I will gift 5 members. And if you guys like to contribute to that, to the Super Chat goal, consider sometimes doing a little bit more in the 5, because I basically take your Super Chats and turn them back around and gift members to people. So thank you so much for doing that. You guys contribute so much to this community. Edward Holtz with a 5 spot of, it's £5. He says, 2024 Xbox puts their toe in the multi-plat waters to test it. 2025 Xbox does a cannonball straight into the deep end. And Spice King bumps the member line to 10 by renewing, and says the following: "What does this button do?" Thank you for 5 months. I appreciate that so much. Who cares if PlayStation players keep Microsoft publishing afloat? It just means they'll keep making games for PlayStation. Yeah, I know that's going to be, I guess, like the new form of if you're going to be braggadocious about your favorite brand, it'll be like, well, those games are going to be topping the charts on PlayStation. I don't think anybody cares. Like, I don't think anybody cared that Sea of Thieves did that. Like, good for Rare, good for Sea of Thieves, good for gamers. Like, nobody's checking sales reports and is like, oh, boo-hoo, that publishing company is at the top of the sales charts. I mean, if you really think about PlayStation's history, games that they don't publish are commonly at the top of their sales charts. That's not really ever been an indictment of either platform, whether it be something like Call of Duty or even breakout titles, like when like a game like Power World shows up and it kind of takes over, and then that suddenly drives player engagement to its player funnel. I mean, that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Gaming Bolt quoted Holst saying, while consoles remain our core business, expanding to PC and other platforms will allow us to bring our games to a wider audience. Your take, please? Yeah, that's not new. That's old. And he also said in similar proximity of when he was quoted saying that, that their goals with PC are to put games over there to bring them to the PlayStation console. They told the shareholders what their goals are. So grabbing random quotes from like a Gaming Bolt article and acting like, oh, he said platforms. I mean this. You are dreaming if you think PlayStation's going to start putting like God of War on Xbox or something. That is not going to happen. It just won't. Herman Hulse is essentially saying console's their core business, but when they expand to other platforms, it allows them to bring their games to a wider audience. So for the first time ever, they partnered with Lego and they put a game on the Switch, right? You got to remember, the first part of the sentence is very important. He's saying this is our core business. So when he told the shareholders, yeah, we like putting our games on PC in the hopes that they might buy a PlayStation to play the sequel. Do you see? The central identity of what they're doing, it all centers around the console. Whether it's the PlayStation Portal or the PS5 Pro or the PSVR 2, you see? So, like, I think a lot of times people see a quote like that and they think, oh, yeah. Herman Hulse said platforms, plural. He told the shareholders what the goal was. If PlayStation's ever going to start putting their games on Xbox, they will tell the shareholders first. That's where it always gets signaled. It always gets signaled there first. The CFO for Xbox did that at a Wells Fargo summit the end of 2023, and all the Xbox guys plugged their ears and closed their eyes. They're like, la, 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 la. He didn't say that. And, and then Phil Spencer does an interview and doesn't even answer the question about first-party games. He only answers the question about Game Pass. So you're always going to have to look to the shareholders first, and that's where you'll notice the change. Because even putting their games on PC, PlayStation's clearly not following in Xbox's footsteps. They're not. They're taking a very, very different approach. And I don't think you're going to see PlayStation pivot away from what they've been doing because they've got 20-something million people in the PlayStation 5 purchase funnel that didn't even own a PS4. So they're getting new user acquisition. So if they ever make that change, Xbox Prime, that's where we'll hear it first. We're going to hear it in the shareholders call. And listen, it's not beyond the scope of possibility that eventually PlayStation says, listen, it's time that we start trying to bring certain titles day and date. Maybe they're lesser titles. I don't know. Here's a good example. PlayStation is doing publishing efforts in China with the China Hero project, and those games are all landing on PC day and date because they're not first-party PlayStation studios, and PlayStation knows that in the Chinese market, they better be on PC and PlayStation. So, because again, their effort is to grow, and then they'll have people say, hey, PlayStation published some really great games. Maybe we should check out PlayStation. Everything centers around the console. Now, that's not permanent, but that's the current plan that they seem to be putting into place. Slowly but surely it's going to happen. I don't see any signs of that right now, but the PlayStation, China Hero project could be them, experimenting with, maybe it makes more sense to do that in certain markets, or maybe it makes more sense to publish and to not own the studios, so then they're not corrupting their brand. They'll like, they could see it in like outward concentric circles. Like you have like the core PlayStation studios that make first party games for PlayStation first always. Eventually they come to PC. And then that extra outer circle could be second party developers that they publish with in particular markets where they know, you know, Chinese market, we better make sure we're on PC day and date. Oh, did I miss a resub? Spice King, thank you. WGC did a renewal. WGC, I'm sorry I missed that. Spice King's drawing my attention to it in the members-only Discord. WGC said, I just want studios to be able to make games and not close. If putting games everywhere does that, I'm fine with what Xbox is doing. I got a whole theory on how this could actually go poorly for some of these studios. Let me get to that theory in just a second. A $20 super chat from William. Good to see you, William. The reason why last year's business segment meeting prior to the May State of Play was so important is because if they were bringing games to Xbox or day one to PC, they would have had announced it there, but they did the opposite. That's exactly right, William, because they would signal it to the shareholders there. Then they would hire and structure their studios around those efforts, and then you'd see it start to make landfall. So if PlayStation is going to start doing that, it's years and years away, because you'd have to prep now for games to land in 3 or 4 years in that way. So, yeah, I don't think they're doing that anytime soon. Now, the reason that I think this publishing effort from Xbox could actually be bad for some of their studios is because you're going to spread them too thin. Barrier with 40 months of membership says, I can get read this way, LOL. Sorry. Rumor is that Nintendo are going after Series S scaled versions of third-party games for Switch 2 ports. So the Series S should be nicknamed the Series Switch. Anyway, that bumps the line to 12 members already on the week. Guys, make sure you smash that like button. Get us to 200 likes. Let's get that early milestone. Let's look at some of the comments on my video from this morning. Mr. Grimm says, I've been saying I want Halo Master Chief Collection on PlayStation since forever ago because Halo 2 and 3 multiplayer were my favorites up until a couple of years ago. I gave up on the thought of ever seeing it on PlayStation. Holy Jeebus, it's really happening. Seeing Master Chief playing on my PlayStation will be a surreal moment for sure. It definitely will. I don't think anybody saw this coming. I really, really don't. A wise wizard once said, keep it secret, keep it safe, says the Cisco. Alex Gaming left a comment and says, everything is an Xbox, including PlayStation and Nintendo. Exactly. Phil Spencer, if we lose our way with Halo, we lose our way with Xbox. That is eerily prophetic that he said that. That's just eerily prophetic. Gears of War is the only franchise that I missed when I switched. I think Gears will crush on PlayStation, not on PlayStation 5, just PlayStation in general. I think Gears will crush over there. I think people will dig it. It's like it's in that vein. Third person. It's third person's action oriented. It's a shooter. I think Gears would crush on PlayStation. I think it would do very, very well. Remember the DRM debacle? Look at Sony now embracing DRM with open arms. In what way is Sony embracing DRM? Can you give me an example? Yeah, Camaro Lover. The word is, from these insiders, the word is that Master Chief Collection comes to Switch 2 and PlayStation this year. There were a handful that are apparently this year. I mean, you guys see the timing, right? I'm not the only one that sees the timing. That the day after they announced the Xbox Developer Direct date, all of a sudden all the insiders start saying this stuff. That can't be an accident. That cannot be an accident. It's like execute Order 66. It's like the day after you announce your Xbox Developer Direct date, you tell people that, hey, get the word out. Everything's going. Go look at digital games for PS5 versus physical. Can you give me an example of Sony embracing DRM? You've made a claim and you've not attempted to back it up. What are you referring to? In what way is Sony embracing DRM with arms open wide? DRM is about digital rights. Oh, okay, so what, and again, explain to me what you mean. You're making this big, huge statement. Give me the specifics. What are they doing that makes you say they're embracing DRM with open arms? Give me an example of what you're saying. Like, we can have a conversation instead of you just saying all these, like, big, grand statements and claims. A $5 super chat from Neo Reaper says, you see the U.S. Designated 10 cent as part of the Chinese military? Yeah, it sounds like it was a mistake, and they're pushing back and saying it was a mistake. I don't know. I don't really have much to say about that. Guys, thanks for almost 200 likes already. You guys are crushing it. And thanks to everybody who supported the upload this morning. Stonespire said, those first 4 games were like the pebble that fell down the mountain right before the boulders of a massive landslide. I'm really glad PlayStation is getting these games. I'm excited to see what's next. It's only a matter of time. Yeah, I agree. It's only a matter of time before it's not even a thought. Xbox One launch. Remember when Sony released that moronic video about sharing a copy of their game? Oh, okay. Yes, I do remember that. And that you can still do that. I can still give you the disc of a game. I can still do that. Have they made that not possible? As if it was a knocks against Xbox somehow. It was incredibly disingenuous. Okay. It seems like they really hurt your feelings when they made that trailer. You can still do that. That has not changed. In what respect do you think that has changed because digital sales are up? Like, a lot of people are preferring digital now? I don't understand the point that you're making. Have they stopped to where you can't share a disc with your friend? I'm not sure what wavelength you're on. You seem to be very angry at PlayStation for something, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. The VGC is corroborating that the Nintendo Switch 2 will be revealed this week, now January the 16th. No, they're not corroborating. They're reporting on what Nate said. Yeah, that's not corroboration. Yeah, barrier. They're literally reporting on what Nate said. If there's somewhere in here where they're corroborating, give me a screenshot. I'm not seeing corroboration. They seemingly are just reporting on what Nate the Hate reported. I don't know what's going on, but Sony, like everyone else, will go away from physical games. Like, if you're upset about everything going digital, where do you game right now that you feel like that hasn't happened? What are you playing on Steam? Nate the Hate speculates that the Switch 2 could launch in May or June this year, which matches what VGC has heard. Okay, so that's not corroboration about the reveal this week. They're corroborating they have heard the release will be May or June. Okay, they are corroborating something. Thank you. I'm a PC player, not angry, just saying Sony is always lagging behind Xbox when it comes to new industry practices. So you're a big PC fan that feels like Sony's lagging behind Xbox as Xbox quite literally lags behind Sony in every single category. You're also a PC player that's really upset about digital ownership, and yet the single largest marketplace for gaming is Steam, and it's all digital. I'm going to guess something. You're one of those pro-piracy guys, right? Like, so you... What do you do with games? Do you not get them digitally from Steam? You have a problem with digital games or digital ownership, and yet you use Steam? I'm not quite sure. I'm not upset. I'm confused then. You were kind of ranting and raving about Sony, and now you're saying Sony's lagging behind PlayStation. In what regard are they lagging behind? PlayStation's lagging behind Xbox. In what regard is PlayStation lagging behind Xbox? Can you give me an example of where they're lagging behind? You embraced digital long ago. Wow. Okay. All right, you embraced digital long ago, and where did I suggest I have a problem about digital sales? It wasn't digital sales. You were talking about DRM as digital rights. You said go look at digital game sales for PS5 versus physical. you were saying, remember the DRM debacle. Look at Sony now embracing DRM with open arms. And I said, well, can you give me an example of what you're talking about? And you cited digital sales. If you have either confused me or you're confused yourself. I'm not quite sure what your point is. I genuinely don't know what your point is. You came across as if you were upset about Sony and DRM and digital sales, but you embraced digital a long time ago on PC. I don't understand your point. You have not made a coherent point this morning, and you can still do that. Nobody's kicking you out or angry with you. I genuinely don't know what you're saying. And Behemoth gifts 5 members. The first gifted 5 bomb of the week takes us to 17. Thank you, Behemoth. If you guys get a gifted member, you get access to more content on the channel. People had a massive problem with Xbox because of DRM. That's what I was referring to. I think you are very, very much oversimplifying why people were upset with Xbox back then. You are severely, severely reducing that to one thing. There were tons of other reasons that people were irritated with the Xbox One era. They were irritated with always having to be online, the price point, the Kinect, TV. Like, the DRM thing, like, that was a completely separate issue that people were also taking issue with. And yes, PlayStation pulled a pretty smart marketing ploy and were like, here's how you share a game on our system, and he just handed him the disc. I don't know why you remember that in such a negative way if you're a big PC guy. I always find it interesting that PC guys are like secretly Xbox fans and angry at PlayStation. It's just odd to me. I don't know. It's odd to me. What I think it is I think it's somebody who doesn't want to admit they're more pro Xbox, so they claim they're PC because they feel like that's some higher plane of existence. Well, yeah, I'm above all this console warring, and yet I've meticulously kept track of all the console warring and have kept score, and will say things like, well, PlayStation's always lagging behind Xbox. I don't believe you. I think you're a console warrior and you don't want to admit it. And you claim PC because you think that's like your camouflage. You're not the only one to do this, by the way. Not all PC guys. No. There are genuine PC fans that hang out here. I'm talking about the phonies that are like, well, I'm a PC guy, but I seemingly am locked into the console fight. Okay, why? That doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, I'm actually a big hockey fan, but I can rattle off all the stats about all the players for fantasy football, and I'm cheering for, well, I'm not cheering. This team's going to win the Super Bowl. It's like, okay. Again, I'm not angry. I guess that got lost in translation. You were being pretty heavily critical of Sony. It seemed as if you were irritated with them. It came off as if you were like, yeah, they did this, and now look at them. And it was like, oh, okay, well, why is this a problem? And then you said they were lagging behind Xbox. Can you explain what you meant by that as well? In what regard? Today's lead story is that Xbox is putting all their property on platforms they used to compete with. In what way do you think PlayStation's lagging behind that? I need you to explain that. I don't get that either. It's because a lot of these new PC guys are Xbox converts who left console to not be on the losing side of the console war. Maybe. Kage Williams left a comment on my video. He says, good video. As someone who has 2 Series X's, I kind of can't wait for Halo on PlayStation, as I play basically only on PlayStation these days. One video thought, though. With PC porting due to it having sliders, do you need to consider many rigs outside the same amount of PC games does? Basically, minimum, maximum, allow sliders for in between. I'm not sure what you mean, Kage. Echo's Art Planet says, I'm super hyped about Halo coming to PS5. I've owned several Xbox consoles before coming to the Sony Pony train. I'm glad it's going to be in my library soon. I'm looking forward to Gears more. I'm looking forward to Gears more than Halo. I think I enjoy Gears more than Halo traditionally. I'm a PC guy who started as an Xbox guy, says WGC. Historically, Xbox has been closer to embracing what PC culture does than Sony. In what regard, WGC? What do you mean? Embracing what culture? Let's go ahead and look here at the comments. Bumblepants left one here. Something about fond memories. I can't see it all of a sudden. Hang on. Where'd your comment go? Hilly says, Halo is scared because of Halo, Xbox, and Aww. No, Hilly. Don't be so angry, Hillberg. I can't find Bumblepants' comment. I had to approve it, and now I can't see it. Did you? Oh, here it is. Fond memories of the first game. Would grab Master Chief Collection day one and play it co-op with my son. Co-op was the only reason I liked Halo, TBH. It was the only reason I liked Halo, is I just wanted a co-op shooter to play with somebody, a friend or a sibling. I was never like a big Halo guy. It was just, oh, this one's got co-op, let's do it. Co-op was a really rare feature back then. You guys might not remember. But playing a game co-op like Borderlands and stuff like that was kind of rare. Call of Duty World at War was, I think, like one of the only Call of Duties that let you play through the campaign co-op, and I don't think they've ever done it since. Why wouldn't Microsoft embrace their own graphics API? I'm not sure what you're responding to, AOZ. Hang on, somebody up here said, Portal Ear says, as an owner of both the Series X and the PS5, my Xbox Series X is unfortunately an oversized paperweight in comparison. It's something that was never needed. There's a lot of us that are in that camp. We're just not using our Series X's anymore. It's a pretty big bummer. I'm a big PlayStation guy. I'm as big of a PlayStation guy as you get, says SDO. Halo and Gears will sell super well on PS5. It's a win-win for both companies, Xbox and PlayStation. Thank you, SDO. What's good, Donnie? What if I have no friends or siblings? Well, then you're just a loser, Donnie. You're just a loser, Donnie. Use matchmaking, you Diablo 4 weirdo. I'm just kidding. Microsoft gaming revenue will exceed PlayStation, but I'm a Tencent fanboy, so I win. Yeah, like I wonder if we're going to start having to cheer for revenue generation. So should we all pick which publisher is our favorite? You know, Tencent, you know, Embracer, Take-Two. Should we just start picking the biggest of the big and be like, well, now I cheer for revenue, and my favorite time of the year is earnings calls. Excuse me. Guys, we have almost 200 likes on the video already. Thank you so much. Y'all are the best. I put a little PlayStation visor on Master Chief today. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, be sure to hit subscribe. It enables you to talk in my chat, and it's totally free. If you've never done a membership before on YouTube, try it out, click join, but make sure you pick Member Plus. It's $6. It gets you into all my extra content. It's basically a second side of the channel. Low-hanging fruit. I'm on Team Take-Two, right? Earnings call is the new E3. Right. Earnings calls are the new E3. That's what people are celebrating. Where's this idea coming from? Xbox plus ABK revenue doesn't exceed PlayStation revenue. Aren't they, are you sure, Eugene, with ABK, with King, with Call of Duty Mobile, and with Candy Crush? Are they still not generating more revenue? That doesn't seem possible. That's a stupid amount. Minecraft? Are you sure? There's no way. How in the world would that be possible? Is it just pure... Where's all the money coming from if PlayStation's generating more revenue than Xbox Game Division going forward with ABK? Again, I'm counting everything. I'm counting King, Call of Duty Mobile, Candy Crush, all of it. Minecraft. They've had Minecraft for a while. I don't know how you match that in revenue. When we see Microsoft won't keep all these studios going, it's not in their DNA. Yeah, I was saying it earlier, and I probably lost my train of thought. That happens a lot on days like today. It's real busy. Chat's really popping. Basically, I'm concerned about some of the smaller studios suddenly being tasked with telling them, like, you've got to make a game for PC, Series S, Series X, PS5, PS5 Pro, and the Nintendo Switch 2. Like, smaller studios, more medium-sized studios are going to be like, we can't do that. We're not set up for that. You're going to have to... shrink the scope of where we launched, to start. Imagine if Sega fans bragged about how much Sonic sold on Nintendo and said that they were beating Nintendo because Sonic was outselling most of the Nintendo games owned, winning, or cope. Right, William. Eugene probably answered me. Hang on. The chat is just insane. Oh, he hasn't. Yeah, I would need to see the hard numbers there on the revenue. Xbox plus ABK is still smaller than SIE plus PlayStation in terms of revenue, market share, and still PlayStation as number one in gaming. Then count all of the exclusive Sony mobile games. Wait, how many exclusive Sony mobile games are out there? I don't follow the mobile market at all. You match that by being the market leader in console sales. The software sold on PlayStation surmounts all of that, I guess. Maybe. Again, I need to see the hard numbers. That seems so confounding to be like, to own Minecraft, Call of Duty, King Mobile, and to still not generate more revenue than PlayStation? Especially when some of the most sold titles on PlayStation, they only get a 30% scrape on all that Call of Duty, and then 70% goes to Microsoft. A $5 super chat from JW. He says, "Don't you dare steal my confetti." He's going for it. Can he do it? We'll see if anybody steals it from him. The one week it was Insomniac back, and JW does it. He says confetti. And then I got to reset it. Because if not, people will do it and it won't count. I will gift 5 members. It's not letting me set it. Oh, black. Don't do super chats yet, everybody. Hang on. There we go. It really doesn't like that feature sometimes. Wow, there's a lot of people here. Guys, if you've never been here before, hit subscribe. That's totally free to do. And then you can talk in my chat. And if you want to support the channel directly, make sure you pick Member Plus. It will not let me start the dadgum goal. I don't know. Let me refresh the chat window. Okay, hang on. Let me try again. 5 super chats, a 3-hour time limit. I will gift 5 members. Start the goal. There we go. Now give it a minute or two before you guys super chat again, or it won't count. There aren't such things as exclusive mobile games. I don't think that would even work. Which one of the Ubisoft studios are you going to buy? If I was in charge and I was Sony, I'd be on the phone right now and I'd be saying, "Hey, I want Ubisoft Montreal. I want Assassin's Creed." Or if you can just get Assassin's Creed, but I'd try to get Assassin's Creed and Ubisoft Montreal and Ubisoft Quebec. That's what I would be doing. ABK was always around 8 billion, and then Microsoft was around 13 prior to the merger. PlayStation generates 27 billion. Xbox and ABK is 21. So PlayStation is still making more. That's a good thumbnail. Do you like the thumbnail evidence? I made that this morning, and I wasn't sure. Whether I liked it or not. I gave Master Chief a little PlayStation visor, and then I put the Master Chief collection on the Switch. I've been having fun with the thumbnails, just getting a little bit more creative as we lean into more variety coverage. P-Dub H-Town left a comment on the video. The Xbox crowd needs to accept that the $100 billion Microsoft spent within the last decade is too large of a number to keep things exclusive on the 2 smallest platforms. They need to publish elsewhere to get a return. MJ says, don't even care at this point. Good. Pro-consumer moves. JTS Tube says, Halo, time to grow up and play other games. It's another Destiny. A once S-tier game turned trash. Sad to see, but it's life. Nothing lasts forever is a fact. I want Gears more than Halo, to be honest. I mean, I think Gears is a better match, honestly. If you want to look at like total sales of like which game will probably perform better, I think Gears has a better shot. I think Gears has a better shot at performing really, really well commercially on PlayStation more than Halo. Now, if they bring a Halo and it's like actually in a new engine and evolved and fresh and not just another Halo, it could crush. But I just at this point in time, I'm just not sure if they're gonna do that. I think they need to. That's always a big debate. People are like, don't change Halo. You know, the reason the last couple of Halo games were bad is because, and they list all these reasons that only make sense to hardcore Halo fans. Like, they literally don't even see it, but like, you're making the argument for me. When you disagree with me about Halo needing to evolve, and you're like, that's not why Halo Infinite and Halo 5 failed. The reason it failed was because, and they just rattle off a bunch of insight and criticisms that only make sense to hardcore Halo fans. Like, the general public has already made up their mind about Halo. So bringing another Halo out that is still very much Halo, you're not suddenly going to convince the market it's worth checking out. It needs a Doom 2016 moment. It does. It needs something that honors the past but isn't beholden to it. You know what I mean? One with another Fire T, Comic Drip, Undefeated. Oh, I've got too many Deadpool. I've got too many Deadpool shirts. Yeah. Way too many. Xbox doesn't earn more than PlayStation. Stop it, Chris. Last year it was $27 billion to $21 billion in PlayStation's favor. Stop. Wherever you're getting your information, stop going to them. I'm not agreeing with you does not mean that I'm lying to you. Well, can you cite facts, Chris? Cite some facts or reports. Eugene pulled reports right here that show that for the entire 2024 fiscal year, Xbox Gaming generated $21.5 billion. That was up $15.4 billion from 2023. They generated less revenue than PlayStation. They generated $21.5 billion. PlayStation generated $27. Do you have any other information? If you're going to walk around and act like that's what matters now, well, then that's actually not even going to Xbox anyway. Raphael with 8 months. Much love to you in this community. Thank you so much. Hang on. I owe you guys 5 for the super chats. I need to do that. Let me do that. Like, do you have any other information or any other data? Or again, are you just going off of like what some bleed green fan fiction writer said on his podcast? You know, you gotta be careful watching those guys. They won't cite reports. They won't pull up revenue, anything. They'll just claim it, right? They're like the false preachers of another time, right? The name it and claim it guys. Let's name it and claim it. Oh yeah, they make more money. Can you show us the reports that state that? Like, what? I've got a report right now in my Discord that's saying the opposite. How much are they making per console sale? I mean, we don't need to break down the per console sales numbers to see total revenue generated is higher for one company than another. These are official reports. This is all public documentation that you can read. Look at the Windows Central article. Xbox fiscal year 2024 revenue up 44%. Xbox did $64 billion revenue for the quarter. What's that? What's the name of that article? You're saying Windows Central Xbox fiscal year 2024 revenue is up 44%. Okay, I should be able to find this. All right, so fiscal year, the quarter ending in June, gaming revenue was up 44%. With growth coming in from the acquisition. All right. Xbox content and services were up 61%. Okay. Microsoft saw $64 billion in revenue. You are making a fatal error, my friend. We always go to the source, and we always find out the reality. No, Xbox is not generating $64.7 billion. Microsoft did. You see this word right here is really important. Overall, Microsoft saw $64.7 billion in revenue for the quarter. So you would have to compare Microsoft to Sony. And I don't know if they win that fight. They probably do, because Microsoft is quite literally, I think, the most valuable company in the world. The Xbox gaming division did not generate more than PlayStation. If anybody's strutting around bragging about that, you're bragging about Microsoft. That's their Azure services, that's operating systems, that's Office, that's everything. That's the Microsoft company. And no, I don't think Sony's going to go toe-to-toe with Microsoft. Microsoft's like, I think, valued as the most profitable company in the world or something like that. Aren't they the biggest? Oh, did NVIDIA take the crown? Microsoft's either in first or second place. Like, no, of course Sony's not going to compete with that. Very few companies do. We're talking about Xbox versus PlayStation. And in that realm, ABK did not usher them into an era of making more money in gaming than PlayStation. If there are like, you know, if there are bleed green podcasts out there that are running around bragging about Microsoft's earnings, oh my gosh, like that's embarrassing. That's a software company. It's the most profitable company in the world practically, and you're bragging about how much money they make? Wait, who cares about that? What? Okay. They were there before ABK. They were way up there. Again, the number that we gave you was PlayStation's in 27 million range. Xbox was in the 21.5 billion range. And that's, how much did it increase? How much did it go up? It was, ABK was always around 8 billion. Yeah, the 8 billion of that came from ABK. Sony doesn't control 70% of PCs like Microsoft, right? Like, Microsoft is quite literally a leviathan. Like, that company is, they're crazy. They're big, man. That's why they kind of do the things that they do, because they can. They're at a scale and a size. They can launch something like Mixer or the Windows Phone and be like, yeah, it's not making us enough money. Kill it. Like, that's how big Microsoft is. That, you know what I mean? Bro could not figure out they had 64 billion for a quarter. When I saw that number, I was like, 60 billion. I was like, what the frick? I was like, where are you getting this? I went to Google, found the article. You got to be careful. I'm telling you, you've got to be careful. Like, there is a group of people right now really angry with me, and they say that I lied about Quick Resume on the Xbox. I never once lied about it. I said that I essentially get the same result over here because the feature doesn't matter to me, okay? That's a matter of subjective opinion. That's a matter of how I interact with the feature, leading me to devalue it. You can interact with it and you can value it greatly. If someone's walking around saying that Xbox made more money than PlayStation, that's a factual, falsifiable statement, right? Everybody's hungry to accuse like the slightest statement that I make as being a lie, and then they'll walk out and say stuff like that, and then you'll run around thinking that it's true. Well, yeah, Xbox made more money. They made more money than PlayStation with ABK. And it's like, no, they didn't. And even if they did, why would that, what's that, how is that a consolation to you? How? Let's just fast forward 5 years from now, and let's imagine a world where the Xbox gaming division finally makes more money than PlayStation. What does that do for you? As a consumer, does that matter? Are you like, yay? It might matter to you in this regard. Let's say Gears of War generates more revenue than it ever has because it's in a larger footprint and the PlayStation audience embraces it or something. Let's just hypothetically say that happens. You can celebrate that because that means you'll see reinvestment in the Gears franchise. I always celebrate sales and revenue reports for that particular reason. I'm like, if this game sells well, I will get more of it. I want Ghost of Yotei to sell well because I want Sucker Punch to be able to expand and make a killer third game, right? But just being like, oh, my team made more money on their earnings than your team, it's like, okay. And? Now, if you celebrate it, as I just said, like, oh, Gears made tons of money, that's going to motivate Microsoft to invest more in that studio, and then you get better product in the future. That's the symbiotic relationship between consumer and earnings reports. The relationship between consumer and earnings reports it's not, you shouldn't be out here just shaking a green or blue pom-pom. Like, who gives a frick? I've only ever cared about those things with regard to reinvestment in the studios, because I know that leads to a better product for me. I'm going to get something that's more polished, more innovative. It's going to ship at quality because the studio has been properly funded, expanded, or invested in. Just because I made a statement that I can't back up with empirical data doesn't mean I'm wrong. He's still going? No, he's not. Listen, man, some of you guys are drinking in the mornings or something. You need to sober up. You can't be serious right now. What's he saying? Xbox, without a doubt, makes more because of COD and King. Just because I can't find an article does not mean I'm wrong. I don't get wrong. PlayStation has to bet Xbox on everything. It's just stupid. Homie, we have the fiscal earnings reports. It was $21.5 billion against $27 billion. PlayStation made more. That could change. It could. I'm asking you why it matters. Afternoon here? Okay, well, you're day drinking. At least you're not breakfast drinking, for frick's sake. Listen, my wife says you want me to bring you a beer. No. Listen. Who cares if you're factually correct or not? Let's have a more fruitful discussion. Let's just say that it happens. It stands to reason that Xbox could catch up to PlayStation and close that gap. Do you want to know why? They own a stupid amount of property. And the more they start publishing a Gears or a Halo or a whatever on other platforms like PlayStation and Nintendo, if a game hits Nintendo Switch 2 and does really well, that's a lot of money to Xbox, okay? So let's just imagine that reality comes to fruition. I need you to tell me why that matters to you. I want to understand why you care about that. Why? If we walk into, 2026 or 2027 and you're like, Xbox made $29 billion and PlayStation only made $28. Okay. And what? And what else? What? Okay. What's that do for you? Xbox owns King? Yes, they do. They own King Mobile, which means they get all of that Candy Crush revenue. Listen, Chris. Rewind the stream. When Eugene claimed what he claimed, I didn't believe it. I thought, there's no way. Xbox has to generate more revenue. They have Call of Duty Mobile. They have Candy Crush. How do they not generate more revenue? And then Eugene brought the facts, and I thought, well, there you have it. When you have, double the consoles in circulation, that leads to a lot of cheddar. It only matters to a true fanboy? Can you define true fanboy? Spice King's got some good memes of me in the Discord. All that King Mobile money is included? Yeah, it's included. When we said it was $21.5 billion with ABK, the K in ABK is King Mobile. So yes, we were including King Mobile in the total. If you're a super fanboy, it means something, apparently. Well, I mean, your account name is Xbox Prime, and it's been alive for 59 minutes, so. That was it, Dave Lono? Yeah, we gave you the numbers, and it included King, my friend. It included King. Let's read some of the comments on my video. If you guys haven't checked out my latest video, Halo to PS5, Nothing is Sacred is the name of the video. Please give that video some love. Give it a like, give it a comment. That is extremely helpful when you guys support our upload efforts. We are primarily a live stream. I got banned by you last time for no reason. Oh, really? Oh, no reason. Huh. I'm really known for that. I just ban people for no reason. I think a mod did it. Oh. why don't you DM me on Twitter a link to your original profile? Listen, I'm all about giving people second chances, but I want you to be on your actual account because I want chat log history. I mean it. Like, you're not doing anything right now, okay? But I'm all about giving people a second chance. But I want you in here on your genuine account so I can see chat log history because we foster I think, a good environment here. People will say it's an echo chamber. I have people in here with red badges and gold badges that will disagree with me for hours on end. So that's like the antithesis of an echo chamber. So I would like to know what your actual account is. You can DM me on Twitter and I'll unban you. You can come in and talk on that account and then I can see your chat logs. Illuminati 85. All right, hang on a second. I can just look your username up. Do you know what your Illuminati 85? Do you know what your hang on. Unhide user on my channel, submit. All right, come in on that account. You can now come in on the account Illuminati 85. No, I mean it. I'm 100% trying to foster that wavelength. I want people to be able to come in and disagree and have their viewpoints or whatever. You just, as long as you don't start insulting me or chat, I don't care. I'm so ready for Halo Master Chief Collection and Gears of War Ultimate Edition coming to PS5. The only two franchises from Xbox that I care about. I appreciate you. Listen, man, I know there's a lot of people watching right now. I can see it in the view count whenever I cover this. Listen, I know a lot of you are watching either on alts or banned accounts or you're hate watching. I'm just going to continue to try to say, why can't we be friends? Like, it's like, I've tried to extend olive branches and kindness to people, and they want to spurn it and be mean, call me a fanboy or whatever. That's their choice. That's their journey. But if you're going to come in here and you want to be an actual part of the conversation, the community, I 100% welcome that. I'm here. Okay, let me click on you here. Channel activity. Yeah, that's an 18-year-old account. You have one message that was hidden, and I can't even see it. I don't know what you came in and said. You might have gotten bopped by somebody by accident. Okay. Yeah. My gut, there was something that told me, like, there's some... I'm gonna let this guy come in. You only got one message hidden. You have no channel activity on my account. It can't even find it. You must have come in... and you must have just said something, and somebody just made an assumption and bopped you. So, welcome back. You don't understand people that hate watch? Derangement syndrome is a real thing, dude. Reckless Gambit says, the end of an era is the dawn of another. As dramatic as it may sound, the game needs to evolve and survive beyond itself. Yep. Coming to PlayStation will help with that. I think they're going to be far more driven. Oh, you got him from the comment section. Oh, Creature saying he got you in the comment section. Okay. What did he say? He was spamming nonsense every few seconds. My chat history said he only had one hidden chat message. So I don't know. I'll be on my best in here. I really like his views. I mean, he's on an 18-year-old account, so I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. Switch 2 release date. We should be getting a Switch 2 announcement this week. The one insider who properly leaked PS5 Pro and the Nintendo Alarmo, they're saying in March is the release date. That feel when he starts to read and then stops. What did you say, Eugene? You get a lot more respect admitting you're wrong and moving on than trying to defend a bad claim. We've all been wrong. It's okay to be wrong. It's part of being human. Admitting it is being a man or a woman. Right. Well, I would just say being an adult. Banning from YouTube comments is wild. You think it's Jake, have you ever seen the comment section on a channel? My friend, it's an ugly place. Jake, have you never seen anybody do a video like reading mean comments? Homie, it is freaking Thunderdome out here, bro, in the comment section. Live chat's pretty tame. Live chat's pretty tame because everybody can read it and you'll get banned pretty quickly. But the comment section on YouTube, it's Thunderdome, bro. Mullen says, I can't remember the last time I read a comments channel or comments on a channel, right? I try to respond to as many as I can. I'll go to the ones that get flagged for review. Homie, there was a guy, the lack of self-awareness was incredible. He was like, you're a this and a that. He called me the C word. C-U-N-T. That's what he called me. And he said I was toxic. I'm like, I'm toxic. It's like, you're a this and you're a that. You're just so toxic. Like, are you sure about that? Are you sure I'm the toxic one, bro? Really? Maybe you just don't like what I say and you need to grow up a teeny bit. You sensitive little Sally. It's like so angry at me. It's like, bro, I just sit and talk about video games and give my opinion. If it's that upsetting to hear, good Lord, get therapy. K. Cole with 24 months. It's a VIP plus. He bumps the member line to 19. We're right there. Almost that first 25. It's been 24 months. I've been kicking with you since 2021. Keep on keeping on. Thank you, K. Cole. I appreciate you, dude. I wonder how powerful the Switch 2 will be. Listen, the most surprising thing that came out of the weekend news was that Xbox games are going to Switch 2, and then Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to the Switch 2. I don't know, bro. I gotta see this thing, man. I gotta see this thing. They say AC Shadows was delayed, but the PS Store is still wishlistable at 14 for Feb 14. No, it's officially delayed. And P.H-Town and K. Cole, they tag team it up. A single and then a 5-bomb to follow it up. And that gets us to 25. There it is. And P-Dub is Agent of Chaos. He pushes us past the 25 and hurdles us toward the first 50 of the week. Thank you guys so much. And another one from P.H-Town takes us to 31. We'll see if you can't fish and bait for the 20 bomb all the way to 50. Thank you guys so much. All the generosity in this community is just incredible. William says, if it's as powerful as the base PS4, it makes sense that it could play FF7 Remake. With the upscaling stuff that they patented, William, I'm also curious as to like how low internally are they going to let these games run. It'll be very, very interesting. This guy here, Akira Angel Fire, says, I knew it was just a matter of time, day one, but when the Master Chief Collection comes over, would be nice to play Halo with people who aren't being stupid. And K. Cole does another 5-bomb. We got a little member train going right now, guys. Hop on. We don't need the big boys to drop 20 and 50 bombs. Just do a bunch of 5s. Get on board. Thank you, K. Cole and P.H-Town. If you get a gifted member, be sure to say thank you to those gentlemen. Gears has greater potential on PlayStation, in my opinion. And a VIP from Super Gaming, and that takes us to 37, but it's going to go to 39 because I count Member Pluses as 2. And Mule, anybody who upgrades to Member Plus, or if you sign up for Member Plus, brand new, I count that as 2. Welcome in, Mule. We're trying to hit a big goal of 600 people at Member Plus and above. So VIPs are helping as well. But Member Plus is the big focus. The Elder Scrolls Oblivion remake is reportedly real and being built in Unreal 5. It's being developed by Virtuos, and it will feature improvements to gameplay systems like stamina blocking and stealth, in addition to remade visuals. And there's a member plus from Kale, 31 months, and rolls it over to 40. Ooh, a 10 bomb to 50. We'll see if anybody takes the bait. Thank you, Kale. Got my coffee bundle. Thanks, Lono, Madam, and Kids. Team Light. That's right. Don't forget, coffee drinkers, a great way to support the channel. If you're already buying coffee, try mine out the next time you need a coffee refill. We're having a sale on our Frickmas blend. We're having a sale on our bundles. ReforgeRoast.com. And this is not a sponsor. That's mine. Bro Sexy, for 31 months in a VIP, the comment section can give you night terrors. Count it. Count it. 41. Thank you so much. Lono, I want your opinion regarding AC Shadow's delay. There was some discussion over the weekend. It turns out March 20th is the 30th anniversary of a bad attack in Japan. Some are calling the launch date another Ubisoft blunder. Some say it's no biggie. Wonder what your thoughts are considering all the missteps at this point. Listen, man, if the release date of a game lands on like September 11th, like by now, I don't think anybody would get upset about that, would they? Like sometimes that date just falls on a Tuesday or a Friday. I mean, I'm assuming movies and video games and albums have landed on September 11th, right? I mean, there are some tragic days in history, and sometimes they just land on a Tuesday or a Friday. I mean, March 20th is a Thursday. It's far more related to the fiscal. I think people are hungry for controversy. I really, really do. They are so hungry for controversy around that game. It wouldn't surprise me if the same dishonest grifters are the ones... March 30th is also a Japanese holiday, by the way. Oh, so it's also a Japanese holiday. Yeah, I mean, come on. I think people are reaching, bro. They are freaking reaching. I think people are so desperate for controversy surrounding that game. Last two messages. All right, hang on, Mullen. Mullen says, this is long overdue. Lono, you do genuinely incredible work consistently for so long. Absolutely deserve the membership. Also, it's Maloon. I know. Oh, I always call you Mullen. It looks like Mullen. Okay, so it's Maloon. Oh, I see it now. I see it. Maloon. Okay, I'll try to remember that. I've called you Mullen for so long. And a VIP... 40 months, Stephen Marson. I was impacted by the SoCal fire. Oh my gosh. Back home now. Thanks for doing what you do. Are you okay? Like, is your property okay? Holy crap, Stephen. Thank you for 40 months in a VIP. Madera with 29 months in a VIP. Enjoying the stream. And I expect the Switch 2 to be a middleweight contender, so playing FF7 Remake on it should be easy. Well, it wasn't just Remake, though. And you guys just bumped the line to 43. It was also Rebirth. It was like Rebirth comes later as well. I don't know. Local streamer misreads name again. Film at 11. Maloon says, there we go. Rolls off the tongue better. I ain't no donkey. Maloon does sound better. Sounds like saloon, instead of mule. Happy Monday to you. Yo, good to see you, Delta. Kevin Cools in my comment sections. Appreciate you, dude. Comment on some of his videos lately. He says, as a longtime Halo fan, I'm all for Halo branching out to other platforms. It's been limited by being exclusive. It also needs to evolve beyond, quote, just another Halo. It really does. It's got to evolve beyond just another Halo. They've got to set it free from that. They really do. They really do. Rockstar Community is coming in February, which mentions of GTA 5 features. Okay, so the Rockstar thing, hang on. Oh no, I already read Madara's VIP thing. Hang on. They're no longer deleting posts on Instagram. They're not. So I don't know. We thought they might be doing like a countdown thing. And now they're stuck at 11 posts. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if it's even worth looking into anymore. As far as like, are Rockstar goofing around? Are they trying to signal or breadcrumb or anything like that? I don't think that they are. I really don't. Did you see the new TOS for Epic Games? Every game that uses UE5 is Epic Games property. Wait, what? I'm not sure I understand, FCAT. So when I agree to a TOS at Epic Games, or when these developers agree? Or are they saying the engine, are they saying that Epic retains the property of the engine, or they retain property of the game? I don't think they can do that. I don't know if legally they could do that. I don't know if that would be an enforceable form of TOS. If you license to use their engine and they suddenly change it to be like, yeah, we own all your games, I can't see that holding up. Excuse me. Nintendo Switch 2 reveal imminent, report suggests. Yes, yeah, it's a lot of insiders and outlets are now reporting any day now. Let's see where y'all are coming from today. Most people found this live stream either on their homepage or as a suggested video. If you guys found this video today on your homepage or as like a suggested stream, and thanks so much for clicking on the video and coming in and hanging out with us. We greatly appreciate it. We hang out every morning in Morning Coffee with members, so if you got a new membership today, if you're one of the lucky ones that got gifted, that's an opening day segment, and then we did an upload about Halo. It's called Nothing is Sacred, my latest upload, and then we come in here and discuss all the latest in gaming news. Stray 2 is in the making. Is that confirmed, or are you just assuming that based off of the Annapurna news that they like reformed or whatever? I think the Nintendo is what Square means when they say that they need to have more multi-platform games. Nintendo is the leading platform in Square's home country of Japan, and they really need that. Portalier says, Halo's problem is that it's unfortunately fallen into a toxic loop of community and developer-imposed nostalgia for nothing. All of its CE throwback now, visually and narratively, it's stifled. Industry whispers to Eurogamer has heard over the past week and have coalesced around the reveal this Thursday, the 16th of January, with the focus on the much-leaked console itself rather than a deep dive into its software lineup. Reveal will be about the console instead of the games. It makes sense. Well, they'll do another one later, and then they'll be about the games. I'm wondering when they'll announce that, because they announced their Nintendo Directs in advance, and we will 100% co-stream the Switch 2 announcement, the Nintendo Direct, which apparently is going to be this week on the 16th. Now, the other notable leaker said the 17th, but they may have just gotten their days crossed because of time zone or something. They might be in another time zone, but they said 17th. They said the release is in March. So, the Rockstar troll changed me. They're all reporting the 16th, so this Thursday, but apparently it won't feature any new game reveals. It's going to be hardware focused. I mean, if you want my honest opinion, I actually think that's an important step for Nintendo, because they're going to need to go into detail about what this thing's going to do. Like, I mean it. It's going to be very different for Nintendo to focus on that, but I think it's time that they do. Could we get 20 more likes on the video? 300 likes is a big milestone to have this early in the stream. We've only been streaming for a little over an hour, guys. Thank you so much. Rockstar needs to send out random weights so that the internet can debate on whether that's fat or not. Oh, gosh. You mean send out random scales? Yeah. I'd be surprised if they don't make some kind of an announcement about GTA 6 this month. Every Rockstar game that's been made since 2008 have announced the game's release date in January. Is that true? Is that true, Burnett? Rewinding VOD. Hope you have a good week. Thank you, Al Shalant. Illuminati says, like the video, everybody. Maybe because they want to be establishing a more mature marketing. You said that. You said that, Maloon. You called me out on Twitter about it. It does look a little less toyish. I'll give you that. Charles Hawk says, come on, let's get that member count going. And bumps the line to 44, putting us 6 away from 50. We'll see if the spirit of Stone Spire is alive and well today. I disagree, Lono. They need to focus on games and not specs. People who care about specs are not looking to the Switch to satisfy that. They're looking to the Switch for the games. Well, here's the thing, though. Zubair. When they focus on hardware, it's not just specs and performance. They could focus on the Joy-Cons. They could focus on the screen. They could focus on resolution and performance, they could. They don't need to get deep into the mire and do a Mark Cerny thing where they're like, we put chipsets in this Switch 2 that will give you 10 times the detail. I don't think they're going to do that. But I definitely could see them going into detail about why this is a bump up from the Switch 1. Because here's what they need to do, Zuby. They need to convince 150 million Switch owners that this new piece of hardware is worth it. And if you just do it with like a bunch of titles I can't get anywhere else, I don't know. There's an upgrade command, Stream Jesus. There's an upgrade command. If you want to bump up your membership to Member Plus, you got to use that command there. And Siege Master is going to make it really easy to hit 50 members to start the week strong. Only an hour in. If you guys missed it, you hit the stretch goal last week. And my wife had to play Kingdom Come Deliverance, the first one. It was hysterical. It was a fantastic stream. You guys made it awesome. Thank you so much. CD Projekt Red boss says that around 100 designers from The Witcher 3 still work at the company. The Witcher 4 Stories director is the same person since The Witcher 1. People are saying old devs. Yeah. I am 100% confident this will be spun into negative grift pieces within the next 12 hours. I'm 100% confident this will be spun into negative grift pieces within the next 12 hours. The Witcher news. Yeah, they can't have it. They can't have it, bro. They'll be like, no, this one guy is gone, and so the game is dead and woke. Oh my gosh. Mute. Okay. If you're trying to upgrade on your phone, it's super difficult. It's super difficult. You got to do it on a browser. Web browser is the best. I've looked up the press statements or Newswire statements, and Rockstar has announced the release dates of every game they've made since GTA 4 in 2008. All right, Mr. Christopher Burnett. Is it tomorrow then? Mr. January 14th, actress's birthday from Bonnie and Clyde. That was you, wasn't it? Oh, well, it could be tomorrow then. Could be. Ooh, that felt great. All I want from Switch 2 is for their first-party games to not be so jagged and pixely docked on a TV. Is it aliasing? Probably. I'm not the tech guy, but I think that's generally what is an anti-aliasing supposed to push against that and to make it not so jagged, and it probably doesn't have a whole lot of AA going on. That takes power that they probably don't want to allocate because of the weakness of the device. I generally think that the art style of their games are perfectly suited for a slightly stronger device that leverages upscaling. Siege Master's going to land the plane himself. There it is. The first 50 members of the week. And a 5-bomb comes in from Mike Ox Small. Mike doesn't even have a membership, and he's gifting to the community. Thank you so much. That sets up the 20-bomb bait. We'll see if anybody takes it to 20-bomb us all the way to 75. Mike, I appreciate that so much. That's very generous to gift 5 members when you don't even have a membership yourself. Appreciate that. What are your thoughts on Sony bringing in game smells to the controller? Yeah, there are some gimmicks that I don't think will ever be worth it. You know? Did he get me? Did I say it? He got me, Mike. Did I actually say it? That's good. Did he get me? I didn't even say it. Did I say it like in a line? Did he get me? I don't even remember. I just want to say a personal thank you to Mike Oxmall. They got me. They got me. I've been doing this for a decade, and they almost never get me. I think in the grand history of those kind of name baits, I think one person got me, and he put together like a montage. I forget what his name was. It was the guy that did it was really lighthearted. It was really funny. He did it on Twitch. They almost never get me with the fake names. Congratulations. Credit where credit's due. You totally did. You totally got me. I almost never have fallen for that traditionally. Usually it's because they're trying to get you to say the N-word. Those ones are pretty easy to spot. That one got past me. That one got past me. That was good. I think it was the graphics card image and the fact that he didn't have a badge. And I saw the OX and I thought, oh, operating something. Like, it just made me think of tech. And I was like, oh, yeah, that seems like a genuine username. Oh, man. Good job. Good job. You got me. I owe you guys 5 members for the 50, by the way. You guys hit 50 members already. Thank you so much. Here's the 5 that I owe you. Oh, that's good. Oh, man. What was the point of Xbox releasing the haptic controller now? Doesn't it seem like a little late? Well, no, because if it's got the peripherals in it that we're hearing, it could be more than a haptic controller. It could be a cloud access point. And that was something that Satya wanted. Satya wanted them to be able to basically just, let's just sell it. Let's just sell a controller. Let's just sell a controller. Just get them a controller so they don't even have to buy a console. I think what Satya is missing there is a non-gamer isn't going to see a controller as they're not going to see it as appealing or inviting. Yeah, he got me. Pin it, repost it. Yep, he got me. I'll show up in the salt content for sure this week. That's legendary. That's legendary. That's good effort. Series S can't run the controller. What? What do you mean? I thought the controller was going to be compatible. Why would it not be? Why would it not work with the Series S? Somebody's saying the Switch 2 triggers aren't analog, which is surprising. Things like Odin 2 make good ones. It's been official that Xbox controller won't have haptic feedback. Take the haptic feedback from the PlayStation controller, and that's what they've done with the Xbox controller. I don't know what you're talking about. It's been official that it won't have haptic. There's not been an official word stated at all about it. It's been rumors and whispers, and then there was a patent for a controller called Sebel that will have it. There's a patent for it. I mean, it's called Sebel, and it said that there was an Xbox controller that was going to have haptic. Little review roundup for you guys if you were curious about it. Dynasty Warriors Origins. I didn't do a review roundup of this on today. We're seeing some pretty good scores here. 5 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 9s, a 93. Some more 4 out of 5s, some 8s. I believe on OpenCritic it was in the low 80s, which is not a bad score. Certainly not super strong, but I think sometimes that comes down to genre probably. I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but based on what Rockstar has done in the past 17 plus years, they've been consistent in announcing release dates for their upcoming games in January. All right, well, we'll see. We will see. I don't want to be one of those guys that rides on Gifted. I don't want anybody to ever feel shame about riding on a Gifted. Sometimes people need to. You got to go to a browser, and then you got to go to the membership tier and just click change perks or change level or whatever it says. If you're trying to do it on an Apple device, it's like almost impossible. I literally cannot find the upgrade button. We had a hang on. What was it? Mobile upgrade or something like that? Or upgrade mobile? I can't remember the name of the... there it is. On mobile, close chat, click see perks, then change level to upgrade to full or VIP. That should be to Plus or VIP. Yeah, I don't. If you can't do that, you got to try on a web browser. Yeah, a new Phantom Blade Zero trailer will hit on the 21st. That's like what, a week from tomorrow. I had to upgrade from my laptop, says Charles Hawk. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, Mike suffers from a severe case of ligma. Yo, Bernard with the gifted member. Thank you so much, Bernard. And he bumps the line to 56. Everybody tossing in today and helping out. Thank you so much. We already had one confetti super chat, and we've already had some big gifted member trains already. You guys are crushing it. The haptic isn't PlayStation haptics. It's speakers, thumbsticks, and quieter buttons, as well as accelerometer that allow for gyro control. Paying mine forward. Yo, thank you, Bernard. Welcome back after 26 months, man. All I know, Gaza, is what you're saying is not representative of what I read. I read a report that there was a patent for a controller called Sebel that would have haptics. I don't know what else to tell you. You know what I mean? I don't know what else to tell you. That is what we saw. That is what I reported on. I would need there to be some type of counter evidence to believe that they're not doing haptics. What game am I most anticipating for each platform? Ghost of Yotei, any new Mario or Zelda, a new 3D Mario especially, and then from Xbox, Doom the Dark Ages? Yeah, Doom the Dark Ages from Xbox, Yotei from PlayStation, and honestly, anything from Nintendo. I'd just say the Switch, too. That's kind of all-encompassing. With all the posts that they were deleting, it has thinking as a countdown, but it's stuck at 11. February 11th is a Tuesday, and it's 5 days after the Take-Two earnings call. They could switch it up. Yeah, maybe. I don't know why. I felt like they would announce the release date, or at the very least, Christopher, it would just be a trailer that says fall of 2025, because right now fall of 2025 was only uttered in an earnings call. It wasn't uttered by anything marketing. Keithius with a VIP renewal, and he bumps the member line for the weekly goal. Thank you so much. If there was one game you forced to sit through and play 30 FPS, which would it be? None. No Kingdom Come? No, I did a preview of that game. That game is not for me. I gave it a 4th try last night. I just don't think it's ever going to appeal to me. I made a bunch of the save potions. I dug up some graves. I got some better loot. The first inn that you come across, if you pay to stay there, you can take a bunch of stuff out of the chest. You don't get caught. It's very easy. I had a bunch of decent gear, and then I set out to try to go to the guy that's like supposed to train you to fight or whatever. I died 2 times on the way there, and I had just saved it, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But I was just like, I told my wife, I was like, I can't do this. I can't disrupt my personal life for 3 weeks for this game. That's what it would take. For the next 3 weeks, my wife and I would have to take a hiatus from watching shows together, and that's what we would do on the couch, is watch me play through Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Like, it's such an enormous game. It requires such a time commitment, and I'm like, the game does a lot to make itself unappealing to people like me, because I don't have 5 or 6 hours to sit down in one play session. I've got somewhere between 1 to 3. And it's like, I'm not disrupting my personal life for 3 weeks. I'm casual dad gamer now. I can't let a game like that take over. For one review video and for maybe the clout of, oh, he played and finished a game that wasn't really up his alley. It would require too much disruption of my life to play it. I can't do it. It's games like that are wonderful if you can sit down and just hack away at it for 5 or 6 hours. If I was back in my 20s, sitting on my couch all day, every day, I'd probably eat up a game like that. But I'm not doing that now. No way. I don't like it enough to do that. Like, there's elements of the game that are awesome, but there's also elements of the game that I find frustrating, and I'm like, dude, I'm not doing this. It hasn't earned that right to disrupt my life. Absolutely not. Yeah, no. And I know there are people that got really upset in my comments and stuff, and I'm like, I was extremely positive. Now, I know this happens every time I put together a thoughtful, how long was that video? I put together a thoughtful 16-minute video, and these guys with Reforge derangement syndrome are clipping me and putting me on Twitter claiming that, like, I was bashing it and being negative. And it's like, it's an incredibly positive video. I literally talked about how all of your choices matter and have genuine impact, and they tried to spin that into a negative that I, like, said that it was bad. And I'm like, you guys are so deranged and deluded that you just lie. It's like, it's a very positive video. It's just like, these are the elements that I rubbed against that I wanted to make sure people knew. Listen, if you've never played a game like this before, you need to know these tension points are probably going to frustrate you. If you're a big fan of the first game, you're going to love the second one. Like, and I don't know, man, these guys that haven't matured past like 7 years old, like, they can't hear that kind of input without spinning it into, like, their feelings get hurt, or they're like, oh, this guy's just a tourist. And it's like, I put 10 hours into the game by now, and I'm just telling you, some games just don't work for where I am in life. They're just too stout. I would love to be playing Death Stranding right now. I would. But it's like, I would never finish that game. I just wouldn't. It's really hard to enjoy a game that's going to take 40 or 50 hours if I can only chisel away at it like 1 or 2 at a time. Like, the only way I was going to finish Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 in time to review it, I was going to have to disrupt my life for 3 weeks. It's like, I'm not doing that. That's not what I do. I'm primarily a live streamer. That's what I do for a living. I sit and I talk. That's my job. And I'm not disrupting my time with my wife for one game. So, the Baja Blast for you. If you want to submit a question like that to have it featured, you do need to be a member. I'll read your question. You just can't have it featured. I'm joining a bit late. What's the degree of veracity on the Halo Gears PS5 reports? Basically everybody who has connections is saying that it's happening. And I need to go to the first question that was submitted today. You guys can do this all throughout the stream. It's a great reason to become a member. If you decide to become a member, just make sure and pick Member Plus. People always hear that, and then they're quick to support the channel, and the $5 tier doesn't get you into everything. It groups you in with gifted members. Kevin Mack submitted a question. If these third-party games can run on the Switch too, will they also release on the PS4? I don't think PlayStation allows that after a certain date. I don't think they allow that after a certain date. I think they're allowing games to continue to hit the PS4 because they were already in development. I think you reach a certain point where PlayStation says, no, we don't want games hitting the PS4. I don't think we've reached that date yet, though. PlayStation stops having their developers make games for the PS4, and then eventually I think they tell developers, no, we don't want you to do that. I don't know when that date is, though. It's usually much further out. Because a lot of the times you have like smaller games or less tech-intensive games that can run on a PS3, you know, like an old pixel side-scroller or something. And they have no reason to say no to that. But I think they do get to a point where they no longer allow games to hit the storefront. I don't know when that is, though. So, I don't know if third-party games coming to the Switch 2 would want to build and optimize for the PS4 unless market research showed them that they could do well on the PS4, because that is extra work. Take your time. I'm a dad of 2. It took me 3 months to finish Rise of Ronin. Well, no, because I want to play other games. Eternal Strands is coming out. There's 2 games coming out this month, I think, that I wanted to check out. And then February is going to hit, and even more games are coming out. And then March is going to hit, and even more games are coming out. I'm not going to slow burn my way through Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 for months, because I enjoy the game, but not enough to do that. It just hasn't won me over. I gave it the fairest shot you could give a game. I really did. And it's not going to work for what I like. It's not going to work for my life. It's like, I just can't. Sometimes you just can't get into a game. Yeah, the whole chemistry. It's like, I tried to explain it this morning, Maloon, in Morning Coffee. It's some games you can't hit a potency with the game if you can't put in at least like a 3-hour play session. Like the potency of the game doesn't hit. It's like taking a medicine. There, you have to take a certain amount to hit potency. You can take too much and you hit toxicity. And so I feel like with some games, if you can only play it for an hour, you don't hit that level of potency. You're like, I'm kind of bored. I'm not getting immersed. And I'm in a place in my life where I just can't do that. I can't hack away at a game 3 and 4 hours at a time. It just isn't in the cards. So, Tom asks a question relevant to today's discussion about Xbox games going to PlayStation and Nintendo Switch, and he says, when do you think the announced games they'll announce the said games coming over? This is a tough one because I put up a poll. If you guys want to go answer my poll, I had one on Twitter. I have one on YouTube. And this is what I said. I said, if Halo comes to PS5 and the Nintendo Switch 2, who will announce it? Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, Halo Studios, or Jeff Keighley? Phil Spencer's winning here. I got to tell you, he's like the last person I expect these announcements to come from. I really do. I think he's the last person. Now, I don't know if it's a principled thing, because he could quite literally be in the office or in the emails or on the calls, and he could be saying, listen, Satya, you want to do this? I'm not announcing it. I'm not walking out here after all the things I said over all these years, after all the promises I've made. You are not making me walk out here and announce Halo going to PlayStation. You're dreaming if you think I'm announcing that. I'm not. My face, my voice will not be the one to utter that sentence. And that's why I think it's more likely to be something that you either have Nintendo announce or Jeff Keighley announce, or I don't know, maybe you just let Halo Studios announce it. Phil will bend the knee? I don't think so. I think there's a reason that when he sat down on that Xbox podcast, he wouldn't say the 4 games coming. And he didn't announce Indiana Jones. He didn't. He would much rather be on film saying, I want you to track with this. He'd much rather be on film saying those 4 games are not Indiana Jones and Starfield, and then let Jeff Keighley say that Indiana Jones is going to PS5 months later. He would much rather be on film assuring the Xbox loyal that everything's going to be okay than to be the guy to walk out and say, oh yeah, we're putting Halo on PlayStation. Phil needs to kiss the ring. I don't know. I think he probably has a lot of pull with Satya. He kept them in the fight, and he's probably like, listen, Satya, I've been in the trenches with this brand for how many years now? You are not going to make me announce Halo going to PlayStation. Or there could be 2 ways to view this. Phil could say, I need to be the one to announce this. It's the end of an era. It's a big shift and change. This is on me. I need to be the one to announce this. I don't know. It could go one direction or the other. He seems to be, like my impression of the man is, he seems to be the kind of guy that's like, I'm not the one that's going to announce this. Absolutely not. Why? He was the one that got to announce Black Ops 6 coming to Game Pass. I'm serious. I think that he likes to announce the good stuff. He never wants to announce the bad stuff. That's just my personal theory. That's just my personal prediction, is that he comes across as somebody who never wants to be the bearer of bad news. Feels like Phil's just there now, just sort of a mask for Microsoft. Phil spent far too much time molding insane console warriors. He doesn't want to be the one to break them. If Phil kept them in the fight, it was a weak fight. You have to understand the situation that was handed to him. Like, he was handed a building that was on fire, and he kept it there. Like, literally, the building was on fire when he got handed Xbox. It wasn't just like they weren't doing great. It was they were doing so poorly that Microsoft was going to shutter the whole division. That's the situation that he inherited. I've been critical of him and how he handled a handful of things. But for the most part, I think you got to put a little bit of respect on this guy's name. He steps in at the 11th hour and gives Xbox a stay of execution. And that stay of execution has lasted all the way to today. What is that, 11 years since that happened? I don't think you look at that and not say this guy can do it. I mean, he can really put in the work from a corporate executive level perspective. People probably look at him and say, if you need something done, bring him in, because Jiminy Christmas, he kept him in the fight, and now they're going to be one of the biggest game publishers in the world. Odin Arrow with 20 months, thank you so much. Bumps the member line to 58. So if you're Satya and you buy Activision Blizzard and you're looking at the potential long-term return on owning that much property, both in mobile, console, and PC, Satya has to be saying, it's pretty good that we stayed in the fight here. It's pretty good that we stayed in this fight, because look at the money we're potentially going to make off of property like Call of Duty, Minecraft, Candy Crush, Call of Duty Mobile. They own very profitable pieces of property. They wouldn't be in that position if Phil wouldn't have stepped in. He's done nothing to better Xbox. All he's done is spend money. He's bet wrong numerous times. He has. Even the best coaches make bad decisions. I coached a team all the way an undefeated soccer season. Their first loss was the championship game, and I took the blame. It was my fault. I made a bad call going into the fourth quarter. This age bracket plays 4 quarters instead of 2 halves. Fourth quarter, I made a bad call. I had 2 of my best players on the sidelines thinking I was going to need to do, fresh legs halfway through, and it opened up the field too much. Inexperienced goalie, and they got the go-ahead. And I flooded the field with my talent after that, and we dominated the entire rest of the quarter, which, if I'd have made that call at the beginning of the fourth, I think we would have won. You make bad calls sometimes. He made a bad call. He thought that Netflix trends were so good and impressive that they could mirror that in the gaming world. He did. Look at Netflix explosive growth and what they were doing in the streaming landscape, right? The entire streaming medium has changed, and Netflix was there first. I'm here to tell you that was not at the time. How could you know that was going to be a bad decision? How? There was no way. They wanted to be the Netflix of gaming, and it didn't work. What if it would have? Right? What if the market would have shifted in a different direction? What if things would have trended differently? What if they would have gotten into the Netflix of gaming strategy a couple years earlier and kind of rode that trend along with Netflix? The conversation we'd be having would be very different. It's so hard to be like, yeah, he's an idiot, doesn't know what he's doing. He looked at a proven model that was explosive with growth and thought, we should do that. That's how we branch out. That's how we set ourselves apart. It didn't work. It didn't work. That's on him. That's on him. But you can't act like he didn't inherit a terrible situation. He inherited a pretty crappy situation. It's too bad they're not psychic. Right. It's easy in hindsight to be like, what an idiot. Why'd you do that? But it's like, don't you remember? Netflix was going crazy. Their growth was nuts. I remember when they announced it, my mind just immediately went to studios and the industry and how damaging such a model could be. Games aren't passive hobbies. They're expensive. Sales matter. I agree with you, Maloon. However, if they would have gotten to the subscription thresholds that Netflix did, it would have been a very different scenario. the quarterly and annual revenue generation of that many people on a subservice, I mean, you can't understate what that would have done for the brand. They plateaued real quick, and it was like, oh no, we've centered the identity of Xbox around Game Pass, and they plateaued. And then everybody else plateaued. And then there's a general stigma of subservices. Why? There was a streaming subservice gold rush. Everybody wanted a piece. And now what are they doing? Well, they're all raising their prices and they're grouping together because they have no buying power. Because everybody's plateaued. So they're going to group up and they're going to bundle up again. I remember when streaming took off, Microsoft didn't have their cloud infrastructure yet. Remember how much crap they got for prioritizing the cloud at all? Well, yeah, they prioritized the cloud this gen, and it hurt them. Game Pass killed Xbox? It feels like it was a stopgap. It feels like it was a stopgap. It kept them in the fight. It kept them marketable. It kept them interesting. And it got us to this day. If they wouldn't have done Game Pass, I don't know. I mean, he could have invested everything into the studios, into exclusives, and maybe it would have gone differently. I don't know. Garrett Green with 27 months and a member plus. That's a problem with obsessing over growth. Nintendo stays small and extremely healthy because of it. And that bumps the member goal to 59. Thank you, Garrett. If you've never been here before, you might think, oh, wow, he's actually being pretty nuanced and charitable to Xbox and Phil. Well, yeah, when you don't watch false frame clips, you get very different coverage when you're actually here for the show. I think bashing Phil and acting like this is all on him is a complete denial of the history of the brand and what he inherited. He made bad calls. He made bad decisions. I definitely agree with that. I think if they would have gone, I think Series X and this gen could have been their comeback tour. I still believe that. I do. If they would have doubled down on power and Series X, no Series S. No. And they would have had their studios prioritizing the console with games like Halo and Forza and next-gen pushes. I don't know. I feel like a lot would have gone differently for them. I think PlayStation's new user acquisition proves that you could have moved. You could have had movement in the market. But they doubled down on this idea that there were consumers out there that would want low entrance cost, and I think that was a giant miscalculation. The market did not respond to the Series S in a way that people expected. I think a lot of people thought that thing would be flying off the shelves because of the price point, and it didn't. It didn't make a dent. It didn't do anything. And then all it did was drag down pretty much everything. It drug down their studios. It drug down third-party relations. I've said this before quite controversially, in fact, that the Xbox fan base was never going to allow Phil to succeed. They prioritized beating PlayStation over good games, and it cost them their platform. I mean, you'd need to flesh that out. I'm not quite sure why you would blame the Xbox fan base for Phil's decision-making. He was at the helm. He drove the messaging. They started working with podcasters and YouTubers and have been caught astroturfing. You know what I mean? I don't know if you can lay it on the fans. Dave Langer with a question here. This is something you guys can do as a member. Have your question featured on the channel. Guys, take a quick second and double check that you've given this video a like. Double check your thumbs up. Hey, also do me a favor. Double check your bell button. A lot of you guys, your bell button got switched to personalized. You might need to switch it back to all. That happened recently. A lot of people are having to change that and fix it. So double check your notification bell. Dave Langer says, seeing how well Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 looks, do you think that should give Bethesda a real reason to get away from Creation Engine? I mean, getting Bethesda away from Creation Engine is going to take more than a pretty game like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And the reason being is it's like the spinal cord of the platform. of the studio, like all that institutional knowledge. You know, it's a long time. Bro loves talking about anything related to Xbox. Sure, Jan. Check my uploads. It has been 1 month since I did a video on Xbox. LOL. Check my live streams. When's the last time we had even the remotest sense of an Xbox-centric live stream? Let's check. We did one last week. This is an Xbox because they were at CES. Like, oh, and then Black Myth Wukong and the Series S made headlines. I can't control the headlines, dude. The missions change. They always do. That's right. You could have just ignored that comment. Or I could do what I want and not ask the opinion of someone named the Poop Guy. I think I know what I'll choose going forward. Imagine the way Todd sees it. It's not that creation needs to go, it's that it needs to be improved to match UE5, which, like, I don't know what Bethesda engineers can, if they can compete with UE5 engineers. I don't think you can just be like, yeah, we're done with creation, the creation engine. I just don't know. It's endemic to the studio. Institutional knowledge, all that experience. All of a sudden getting everybody trained on a new engine. I mean, that's not at all gonna be easy. I don't even know if logistically they could pull it off. Reforge, you're literally the only YouTuber right now with a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 preview that mentions the lack of guidance or the save system ruining exploration. It's a huge problem with some games, not just Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Yeah, free save is like one of the more popular mods for the first game. I'm sorry. Here's the thing: a lot of people were really upset at my preview. They're like, "You obviously never played the first game." Yeah, genius. There's a lot of people that didn't play the first game. Literally every gamer in existence who didn't play the first game. Like, that's a lot of gamers. So any would-be purchasers of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 hearing my experience benefit from that. If you're already sold because you played Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, why the frick do you care what I say? Why do you care what I say? You've made up your mind. Go have a ball. You know what I mean? Corey says, Phil has said before that he was trying to get Xbox away from being the shooter box. Historically, Xbox community was supported shooter and multiplayer games, which don't particularly allow for a wide variety of games to be sold on their platform. Well, I mean, you want to talk about succeeding and getting away from being the shooter box. They abandoned doing exclusives with Call of Duty, and now Call of Duty's got half of its sales on PlayStation. So, well done, Phil. You didn't want to be the shooter box, and you now you own Call of Duty. That's great, but you need those sales because it's literally half of what you're gonna get every year from the annual sales of that product. Jiminy Christmas. I don't know why you'd be against that. That's like Randy Pitchford not wanting Gearbox to be known as the Borderlands studio. It's like, yeah, great choice. It's immature to come to an opinion and then attack someone for it. Like, Lono gave the most gentle praise and critique of that game. I'm telling you, it's derangement syndrome, bro. They hate me so much that they can't even listen to a video like that without turning it into a hate campaign. They turned it into a hate campaign. They're on a wavelength of hate. They're miserable. They're unhappy. They're probably mentally broken. They sit at home all day, and that's what they do. It's like, I played a game for 7 hours and put together a helpful preview that has largely been received well. People have been thanking me. They're like, dude, I wasn't sure about this game. Thank you. I've never played one before. Thank you. Those rough edges, if you don't know they're there, You'll play for 35 minutes and you'll say, what is this? Like, you're going to think the same thing I did. Like, are you serious? Like, I saved a lot of people from grief, you know, and headache and heartache. And then long-standing fans, I'm like, you're going to love this game, dude. There's a lot of quality. There's a lot of passion, you know? Ironically, those haters might be the same kind of gamers who would bounce off a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and end up being just like you. Or they would secretly play it on PC and download, like, the free save mod. You know what I mean? They're out here being hypocrites. Dollars to donuts, you know? It's why the free save mod was, like, one of the first made mods for that game. Oh, that and the one that removes, like, the animation for picking flowers. Stonespire says, we're 10 days away from the Xbox Direct, and we keep hearing it's going to be bigger than we think. What do you think will be there and shown? I don't have any theories here. I really don't. I don't. They're, in my estimation, I think they're astroturfing again. I think they are once again astroturfing. They are getting ahead of the bad news. They're getting the bad news out of the way in order to then have the runway set for the Xbox Developer Direct. That's what this feels like to me. You can't tell me that the timing wasn't on purpose. You can't. There's no way I don't believe you. They announced the Developer Direct. Everybody's pumped. Everybody's hyped. Makes headlines. And the next day, all these Xbox insiders start saying the same thing. Really? Really? That's just a coincidence. Okay. Sure. Mm-hmm. Bad news? Yeah. They like to get the bad news out of the way. So before the Xbox Developer Direct hits, they've got these guys out here saying, yeah, Halo's going to PlayStation. That's not good news for your Xbox loyal. Bungie's all-new IP, codenamed Gummy Bears, is a team-based competitive MOBA that has now been handed over to a brand new PlayStation studio. Really? Man, they're going to absorb that company faster than you can say bungo. According to Game Post, which said about 40 Bungie developers are working with the new studio to expand the vibrant, colorful Super Smash Bros.-esque game to attract a younger audience and diversify its portfolio and audience. According to sources, it's been in development for around 3 years, and it's getting overwhelmingly positive feedback. PlayStation's like, I'll take that. I'll take that. Corey said, it's not that you don't want to be the shooter box, it's that you don't want to be only the shooter box. You can't compete with the platform where lots of genre sells and you only sell one type of game. For sure. But, like, what Xbox should have been focusing on with Call of Duty is what PlayStation did. You take all that money and then you invest it in your own studios and your own property. Just another game no one's asking for. Am I wrong? A team-based competitive MOBA? I don't know enough about the MOBA genre to speak here too definitively, but I would say there's probably more room there than PvP shooter live service. Right? You probably have a lot more room on the MOBA landscape to get people in and to make some decent money. I think PvP live service, especially shooter PvP live service, that's the fool's errand. MOBA could potentially have some room, some breathing room in the market. A Smash clone mixed with MOBA. The problem that I would see there, Jake, is that the minute it feels like it's derivative, people will write it off. What was the one with the Warner Brothers game that came out? I don't know if that game. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how successful it's been. Their relaunch. Battleborn was a team-based competitive MOBA. It was, but it was a shooter, and it felt, it got really hurt by Overwatch. I read the article on gummy bears and all the information. It sounds like a fun and unique take on the genre. I found myself becoming curious. The Smash Brothers mechanics sound really unique. Except you forget they was about to pull COD from Xbox. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Silver Mist. Not the shooter box, yet they own Overwatch, Doom, Halo, Call of Duty. They're the biggest shooter publisher in history now. So be careful what you run from. Yeah, Multiverses. What happened with Multiverses? How's it doing? They did their relaunch. I'm having some serious eyelash trouble today. It's driving me freaking crazy. Multiverses isn't doing too hot. I can't imagine any game like that doing well. I just can't. It's just, you talk about a meat grinder, a Smash Brothers clone. Okay. That and high-end PCs. But that's been true for a while. This guy says it's weird because the PS5 Pro will technically have the best version of Xbox games. I said that and high-end PCs, but that's been true for a while. The best place to play Xbox games has been on a high-end PC for a while. In the console realm, it is going to be a bit strange to suddenly say the best console to play Xbox games is going to be a PS5 Pro. I mean, that's... yeah, that will be interesting. $784 player peak on Steam in the last 24 hours. Yeah, I just don't know how you keep players in a game like that. Like, you talk about a meat grinder, like it's a Smash Brothers clone. Like, okay, jeepers. Like, that's, I don't know about that, man. That's the same thing over and over and over and over again. Like, I don't know, bro. That is, I just assume that people get tired of that after like a week. It's like, I don't know how many people are going to want to grind a game like that at length. It just does not seem like something that would maintain a player base for very long. There's Brawlhalla. Yeah, but is Brawlhalla licensing, characters or, owned by a company like WB that wants to see big ROI? Like, what's the operating cost of Brawlhalla? How many players is Brawlhalla averaging on a month, on a day, on a week? And how, and how is it when you play? Like, is it a lot of people? Is it laggy because nobody's playing? Is it hard to find people to play with? Like, I have about, 15 qualifiers that I would need to know before I'm going to conclude that, yeah, that game's doing well. Like, I think a lot of the times that's what gets sort of lost in the shuffle is people are like, well, this game's still around. And it's like, yeah, what is their operating cost could be 1/10 of the operating cost to have a game like Multiverses out there. Smash is also like a party game. It's not like a live service thing. Then again, I think games that are more sports like Rocket League tend to somehow manage. I don't know. MOBA is a genre where Bungie could succeed. Paragon almost beat Fortnite in Epic's Game Jam. If Battle Royale did not take off, Epic would be doing concerts in Paragon right now. I mean, maybe. I mean, so the idea is that, like, if Battle Royale didn't take off, you think they would have killed Fortnite and they would have promoted... that it killed Fortnite and promoted Paragon more. Let's pop another question up here. Guys, make sure you're smashing the like button. We need 50 more likes. Enjoy says, do you think the Switch allegedly being $300 is a red flag for the device? Brawlhalla has all those collabs and stuff. Yeah, but a collab is just a revenue share. You're not making a game that's grounded in a licensed piece of property. So from moment one, you're having to make a lot more money to pay. Like in this case, it's Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is going to want Multiverses to generate a ton of freaking money. You know. I don't know this thing. I don't see the Nintendo Switch 2 being $300. I feel like it's going to be $400. I don't know. The debate about price is certainly going to happen in the wake of the announcement. When the Switch 2 is officially announced, if they announce the price, if we get that this week, if that's the word on the street, is that the Nintendo Switch 2 announcement is this week, and we'll get a release date. I would say there'll be debates no matter what. If it's 300, then people will debate and say that's not enough. It's going to be weak. It's going to be weak. It's going to be trash. If it's 400, people are going to say that's too expensive for a device like that. I feel like it'll be really, really divisive no matter what. If they pick the 300 price point, I think you'll have a ton of people saying, "Oh, it's going to be weak. It's going to be trash." If it's 400, people are like, "That's too expensive for a Switch." 400 seems right. Maybe 350. Yeah, maybe. Maybe, but Paragon was having some issues with the devs not listening to the community. I wasn't following Paragon back then. I just know that Paragon died so that Fortnite could continue. They needed the servers. So they literally shut down the Paragon servers so that they could use them for Fortnite. Analysts have already said, before we know the price, that they don't anticipate it outselling the PS5. They estimate $5 million in a year. Eugene says, don't be surprised if it's 500. Nintendo isn't taking losses. They don't subsidize. That's true. Like, say what you want about Nintendo, but they're going to want to make money. They're going to want to make money per console sale. Like, I don't think they're going to want to make, I don't know. They're not going to want to have that loss on per sales. I mean, after all the years they did with the Switch 1 not having to deal with that, I don't know if they're going to suddenly do that now. Nintendo has a long way to go for hardware performance to get my money. You may also want to cushion yourself for impending tariffs if that goes through. Yeah, it's probably going to be weaker than a Series S. If we're being honest, no matter what the price is, it'll be too high for what it really is. The difference is if the patent that we read about is in there, and there is some kind of proprietary upscaling inside the Switch, then I think that changes the discussion quite a bit. Being able to take a game like, look at the art style of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Imagine taking that art style, internal res, all the way down, even below 1080, and then upscaling that to 1080. Now, if they can do that in a way where you get good image quality and good image stability, then I think, again, you got to look at their games and their art style and what their games demand. I don't know. I think it's just a different equation. It's not the same as the Series S is going to be the same raw power as a Series S or a PS4. And it's like, okay, build something that's roughly that strong and give it proprietary upscaling that's been patented, so everything's running at really, really low resolutions, textures, the game itself, and then it's being upscaled. That gives you a lot of headroom in a game. That's a good point, to be fair. You don't buy Nintendo for the hardware, but the games and the quality. Right, and if they push art style and they push games that look like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, no one's going to complain. And then they can use this tech to really, really squeeze a lot. Like, you could put Tears of the Kingdom right now, you could put Tears of the Kingdom on a fairly weak PC and use upscaling, and then you could lower, basically lower that internal res to even below 1080. I mean, that, again, can they get the image quality and the image stability? Can they get that into a good place? And if they can, great. This thing will surprise people. A 1440 handheld, 4K upscale. They'd have to give me at least 1440-60 for the level of graphics they make in their games. Tech advancements are for third party, not Nintendo. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to give you, a 1440 upscale to 4K. I could see the handheld being internally running below or at 1080 and they upscale to 1440, but I don't know if you need that on a handheld. If the handheld screen's 1080, my PlayStation Portal screen's 1080. I think that's totally fine for Nintendo games. A Breath of the Wild internally being upscaled to 1080 and running at a smooth 60, brother, that would be I would love that on a handheld. Maybe it could get a little bit higher once docked, but devs don't make AAA games and then make Switch games. They want to make both. Just catching up, says Delta. Phil doesn't want Xbox to be the shooter box, so let's buy COD and Doom on top of owning Halo. Right. I think the point was they didn't want to be just a shooter box. They wanted to have a broader content offering, and buying all of those shooters is more of an emergent property of the business strategy than like what he set out to do. 1440 on that size screen, not only is that not necessary, it's not happening. That's what I mean. The PlayStation Portal is 1080 and I think it looks fantastic. And so if you drop a game into the 700s and you upscale to 1080 and it's running solid 60, like let's just say they do that with Breath of the Wild, I think you might be underestimating just how good that will look. Right? Whether it's Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, if it's stable 1080 60 on a device like that art style it's just really forgiving. Like it looks nice. I don't think we're going to look back. I feel like Wind Waker and Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I think they're going to age incredibly well because of the art style. I think Hi-Fi Rush will be one of the best games with respect to age. In 10 years, I think Hi-Fi Rush will still look good. Hi-Fi Rush will still look good in 10 years because of the art style. That's more enduring. And I think Tears of the Kingdom and I think Tears of the Kingdom and I think Breath of the Wild, I think all of those have a more enduring art style, so that you'll look back in 10 years and you'll be like, man, these games still look really good. The issue is always, to me, nail your art style and then give me good performance. Seriously, like if you make a game look like Hi-Fi Rush and you give me great performance, imagine a game that looked like Hi-Fi Rush that was like I don't know, a shooter, like a looter shooter, or maybe like a third-person melee-based game, because it was third-person, but like I'm thinking like third-person, more melee-based game in the vein of like a Tsushima or like an Assassin's Creed. That art style looks amazing, and then as long as you give me solid performance, like I don't care. It's like, yeah, man, nail your art style, give me good performance, and I'm happy. Do you expect Nintendo to do cross-gen for the first few years? No. There will still be cross-gen games, but I don't expect Nintendo to push cross-gen that hard. No. If they announce a new Mario Kart, or if they announce a new Mario or a new Zelda, I feel like those will be maybe not. I'm thinking about the way they build their games. You could certainly get those games on the Switch, and they would just run. I don't know. They'd be running native, 1080 30, and even then, like, Tears of the Kingdom was dropping into like the 20s. So it's hard. It's really hard to predict. You know what I mean? Question: why do people that everything Xbox do now love everything Xbox puts on PlayStation? If they hate Xbox, stop buying Xbox games. I don't know who you're talking to. Like, I think a lot of the people that have been critical of Xbox are like me, and we like highly anticipated Halo Infinite, and we highly anticipated Starfield, and we highly anticipated Hellblade 2, and they were all incredibly disappointing games. I don't know what to tell you. The user scores speak for Starfield. Hellblade 2, fine. You can say the user scores are good. I was incredibly disappointed. You can objectively argue that game was a giant regression from the first game for a variety of reasons. Halo Infinite was a highly anticipated game by me in this community. We had community game nights with Halo Infinite. I mean, it's just been heaps and heaps of disappointment. We've wanted them to do better. We've not wanted them to fail. The idea that being critical of Xbox means you want them to fail. What did towing the party line get you? Did holding the line get you better quality games? Did holding the line get you better cadence of games? Did holding the line get you more games at 60 FPS at launch? Did holding the line get you any Game of the Year nominations? We finally have Indiana Jones being nominated at DICE. Okay, good for them, good for that team, good for that game. It's 4 years into the gen. That's how long it took. Like, if you're choosing a path, which path do you think nets improvements and value increase? Towing the party line? AstroTurfing on your podcasts and your YouTube channels, acting like everything's fine? Running fan fiction and misleading consumers? Do you think that leads to better quality games? I don't think it does. I think if you look at the history of games and the symbiotic relationship with the consumer, you see things like the Helldivers 2 community revolts and gets a decision reversed. You see the Gran Turismo community revolt and they get microtransactions reversed. The setup of microtransactions in Gran Turismo 7 were reversed. You see people get upset about Like a Dragon charging money for New Game Plus, and that's now not the case in the Pirate Yakuza game. New Game Plus will not be monetized. So if you look at the pattern of what results in better games or better updates or better decisions, it's not towing the party line. It isn't. Towing the party line is for fools and suckers. Being critical, complaining, asking for things to be better, that's the role of the smart and engaged consumer. You're not a smart and engaged consumer when you just toe the party line. You're just a sucker. You're just a fool. Yeah, the Horizon Forbidden West thing, when everybody revolted about that. I was thinking about the PlayStation fanboys that hate everything Xbox have for games, but now they love it when it comes to PlayStation. I'm going to properly contextualize what a lot of those PlayStation guys are celebrating. They're not celebrating getting the Master Chief Collection. They're celebrating being right. There's a difference. Some of these guys called this 5 and 6 years ago. Some of these ponies out here, they called this 5 and 6 years ago. They're not excited to play sloppy seconds of a bunch of games like Hellblade 2. They don't care about that. They're happy that they're right. They're not gloating because they can't wait to play these games. They were right. They're taking their victory laps. And some of them deserve to take bigger victory laps than me. I wasn't calling that 5 or 6 years ago. I was very confident in Xbox walking into this gen. I was. I was in their corner, man. Called them a sleeping giant. Well, they stayed asleep. Like, I get what you're saying, Happy Cloud Gamer. I get where you're coming from. But from my perspective, I'm not out here celebrating being right. At one level, I'm like, I told y'all this was going to happen, and your insults and your seething and your raging and your lying about me didn't change any of that. So I do enjoy a good dose of humble pie. I mean, these guys aren't eating humble pie. They're eating a 7-course meal of humble everything. So to me, I celebrate people getting what they deserve, but I'm also like, I was looking forward to Halo Infinite. I wanted it to be amazing. I was very critical of that game from moment one with a lot of the decisions that they made. I was heavily looking forward to Starfield. I covered Starfield more than almost any game up to its release and defended it before it came out. I felt like there were a lot of false comparisons, unfair comparisons to games like No Man's Sky. I was like, they're setting out to be very different games, you know? But I can only look forward to an Xbox game so many times and have it drop at 30 FPS or below quality or just not very good. And eventually I say, you're not giving me anything worth my time or my allegiance. Now, these other suckers that want to sit here and act like, towing the party line is worth it, well, let them. That's their choice as a consumer. That's their choice as a consumer. If that's what they want to do, let them. You also have to remember, a lot of these guys that quote-unquote hold the line, they don't even play games. They don't. People call me a tourist. I've completed and played more games in 2024 than some of these people have in 4 years. And I'm like casual dad gamer. And I still made time to complete a bunch of games last year. You have to remember, a lot of the people that drive this narrative, they are absolutely frauds. They are not playing games. They don't give a rip about any of this. They like the micro fame. They like the feeling of like being almost like a mini celebrity. They love it. It's a persona to them. It's a character that they play on TV. They don't give a frick about this stuff. They don't care. I've already played all the Halo games and the Gears of War games, but since I no longer have an Xbox, I'm glad to be able to play them over again. I'm more interested in new games like Gears of War E-Day. I'm more interested in that. I'm not interested in the Master Chief Collection or Halo Infinite or Hellblade 2. I respect your opinion. I'm a guy that was hoping for Xbox to put everything on everything. It's more profit for Microsoft to invest in these game studios, so I love playing Game Pass and Cloud. And Game Pass and Cloud doesn't do anything for me. That doesn't do anything for me. I want high-performant, well-built, curated games. That's what I want. And I don't think you get that by spreading your devs everywhere. How many studios right now under the Xbox umbrella are equipped? Just track with me here. Look at the market. So now you care about Xbox? If you followed my content for the last 5 years or for the last decade, you would know that all you're doing is self-reporting. You probably watch clips and grifters who spend more time talking about me than gaming. I've been in Xbox's corner for a very long time. I bought a Series X first, had a 360, had an Xbox One. That's where all my games were. Yeah, I'm a bigger Xbox fan than most of the frauds that you probably listen to. That's the grand irony. I own more games than most of them on Xbox. I have more game hours logged on my Xbox than most of them do. I'm a bigger Xbox fan than a lot of the frauds out there that call me a pony. Like, that's the grand irony. What game are you most excited for in 2025? Apologies if off topic. That's not off topic. You can always ask me that. And thank you for the super chat. Ghost of Yote is my most anticipated game this year. I really want you to think about this. I want you to look at the industry, and I want you to look at how many studios are equipped to put out a game at quality, and at launch, they're going to hit PC, Series S, Series X, PS5, PS5 Pro, Nintendo Switch 2. Just think about what I just said. Just track with me. How many of the studios in the industry are equipped to start doing that? If you're a more medium to small size studio, typically what they do is they target two of the platforms. Like, a lot of the indie studios go Steam and Switch, or they go Steam and PlayStation, or they go PC and Xbox. Seriously. The vast majority of studios can land on 2, sometimes 3 platforms at launch. And the more platforms you add, the more potential problems you're going to run into. So, Xbox is about to turn to their studios and say, we want to be a publisher on all these platforms. So you need to start developing your games for everything I just listed. And here's the real thing that'll start to tickle your noodle. Pause. This will really start to twist you up. What happens when Xbox starts publishing games and they realize it's in their interest to put those games and to prioritize those games hitting platforms where they're actually going to sell? Twist that one around for just a little bit. If you've got your studios coming to you and saying, ETA on these projects, man, you're talking 6 years minimum on some of these, man. If you want us making them for all these platforms. A $5 super chat from El Unico Cocho. When you were on Xbox, did you beat Halo, Gears, and the Fable trilogies? If you're going to try to pull my gamer card, it'll be humorous to see you try to do this. Because I didn't gravitate to Halo, but I did play a bunch of the Gears games. I don't remember how long I played Fable 3. When I was in the 360 era, I played a bunch of Call of Duty, primarily Call of Duty, and then Gears. And then I started getting into Borderlands, and then I started getting into Xbox arcade games because you could play demos, and I would test them out with my wife, and then we would download them. And then when I walked into the Xbox One era, I launched my streaming career with the Xbox Kinect camera. That's how I started streaming. I mean, if you want to pull my gamer card and talk about how, I don't know, pull it. Reforge TV is my Xbox gamer tag. I played a lot of the Halos with, I think, my siblings co-op, and I think I played a lot of the Gears games, and I think I played Fable 3. I primarily didn't gravitate to those games. I have a ton of hours in Skyrim. I have a ton of hours in Fallout 4 on Xbox. Ton of hours in all the Borderlands games. Seriously, like, if you go pull my gamer card, if you want to pull my gamer credentials, the people that call me a pony, they are liars. They're literally running false narrative. It's because they're obsessed. They're literally obsessed with me. It's like, if you legit do pull gamer credentials on me, guarantee you. So weird to take events. Never mind, geez. I tell you what, if I could refund your $5, I would. And here's why. You do this all of the time. You're a manipulative little gaslighter. You ask a question as I'm discussing my history with Xbox, and you phrase it in a way that is accusatory. And when it's interpreted that way, you act like an absolute coward. And you say, I was just asking a question. He was genuinely curious. No, he wasn't. He does this all the time. All of the time. Just, I don't want you here anymore. I don't want you talking in my chat. I don't want your super chat dollars. You're a nuisance. You do this all the time. You'll ask a question in an accusatory way. When I receive it that way, you want to do this narcissistic gaslighting BS where you're like, that's not what I meant. Why are you so upset? Take a frickin' walk. So then you can feed all your clip farmers, look at Reforge Gaming get triggered. Like the slightest amount of emotion feeds these bottom feeders clips of me like actually getting irritated with somebody who is trying to irritate me. Like low life behavior. Low life. Just bottom of my shoe. Jiminy Christmas. You can designate one studio to making the ports of all the games. I don't know. Porting companies usually specialize in porting. Like a porting company usually specializes in porting. Like I don't know if you can just walk up to a studio and say, "Hey, can you start porting games instead of developing them?" Like and here's the other question. Is that studio even going to want to do that? Is that a good use of that studio's talents? Why do you even acknowledge those people if it's clear what their intent is? Oh, I don't know. He was a long-standing member here and just super chatted me, Epsilon Gaming. Can you figure that one out? Can you deduce why he got interaction from me? He wasn't some drive-by troll. We typically just ban them. He super chatted me and asked a question. I don't know if you can just go to a studio and say, hey, you guys are a porting studio now. You talk about talent loss. They're going to be like, well, that's not what we want to do. They'll leave. They'll just walk. They'll be like, I'm walking. I'm quitting. I don't want to be a porting studio. It would be like suddenly being told you're a quality assurance studio. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's the thing. Interaction's our thing here. If somebody's going to come in and say something, they're going to get interaction from me. Like that's literally the whole point of the show. That guy just does. He's done that historically. He gaslights. He asks a question in an accusatory way, and when you read it that way, he claims he's just asking a question. That's like the third time he's done that, and we're 13 days into the year, and he's already done it 3 times. It's like, get out of here. Yeah, and he coincidentally always does that, and then the responses and the irritation from me typically ends up in clips and videos. So, hard not to see the pattern. You say he's been doing this for months? Yeah, and we would correct him on it and tell him to stop. Like, he wasn't ever breaking the rules, Epsilon. Like, he wasn't coming in and calling me names. So I'm not just going to bop somebody just because they get a little bit passive in their questions, right? Like, if he was truly just asking, what was he expecting you to say? I don't know. He's been around long enough to know the answers. Yeah, Duderino's making a really good point. You've been around that long. You have a badge of that color. You going to seriously ask me, like, what I played on Xbox? Is that a mystery to you? Like, been around for over a year and you don't know? We've had heated debates about it. Yeah, the lore is strong here for anybody who has been watching for a long enough time. Like, you know what I played on Xbox. You know where I hung my hat. And if you're really curious, you can literally look up my gamer tag. It's not difficult. Spice King says, what? I wasn't pulling your gamer card. He says, I'm not even the one who's been a streamer for a decade. I've been a member here for 5 months. I could immediately tell it's what he was doing. Yeah. Anyways, I don't think the choice to turn studios into porting studios is a good choice, because if you've got a studio that's really good at, I don't know, let's just take a studio that we are not sure what they're working. Let's just take Rare, for example, okay? let's just take Rare. Rare's been around for a really long time, a lot of institutional knowledge. You know, the Sea of Thieves thing seemed to do very well over there on PlayStation. Turning Rare into a porting studio would be a waste of their talents, would be a waste of their abilities, and you would likely just see mass exodus from the company. So it's not necessarily a terrible idea to say, well, instead of going to a single studio and saying, make your game for PC, Series S, Series X, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5 Pro, and the Nintendo Switch 2, right? You got to optimize for the memory bottleneck of the Series S. You got to tap into PS5 Pro enhancements. You got to figure out how to use the proprietary upscaling of the Nintendo Switch 2. One studio's got to do all of that. Dude, good luck. Good luck. So, that's one of my concerns here, is that as a publisher, even some of the biggest publishers, they don't go that far. They'll land on 2 to 3 platforms, not 4 to 5. Because you got to consider the PS5 Pro is at some level its own platform, because the studios are going to want to chime in. They're going to want to tap in, to PS5 Pro enhancements. That's what they're going to want to do. And Switch 2, its own platform, its own stuff, its own way of upscaling. Series S, you got to wrangle in things because of the memory bottleneck. And then you got new tech on the PC side. You got new graphics cards coming out. You got new upscaling stuff you could tap into, and you're going to ask a single studio to just do it all. They're either not going to do it all, and then you won't be tapping into the new tech, you won't be tapping into the new stuff, which will be cause for criticism from people. Oh yeah, you didn't do this thing on PC, this cool new thing. Why didn't you do that? Oh, you didn't do this on the PS5 Pro. Hey, wait, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you do that? Well, you're 100% going to have people asking that question if you bring a bunch of games to market and you don't tap into these cool new things. So what are we going to end up with? What, a bunch of mediocrity? I don't know. I think it's a very bold strategy from Xbox, and I don't see a lot of publishers doing it. I don't. Activision, Blizzard, and all ZeniMax studios are all accustomed to developing for all platforms. No, they're not. No, they're not. How many of their games have hit the Nintendo Switch? How many? Historically speaking, how many of the publishers out here are putting games on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and the Switch? The number of games that have done that is incredibly small, and a lot of the games that have done that were ported to the Switch by a company that specialized in that. I'm telling you, it is a bold move. And the reason it's a bold move is I don't think you're going to see a lot of publishers following suit. You're not going to see a lot of publishers following suit. Well, we need to make sure we have games hit every single platform. It's usually 2 to 3, not 4 to 5. And if they start landing on all of them, okay, platforms other than Nintendo, that's a hardware issue. Smaller games can do it. Yeah, smaller games can do it, like smaller platformers and stuff. I'm talking about the studios working on stuff like, let's just take Doom: The Dark Ages. Do you want id Software trying to get Doom: The Dark Ages to work on the Nintendo Switch 2 while also dealing with Series S? I'm trying to forecast here 5 years from now. Don't think about right now. Think about 5 years from now. So a developer is going to start working on a game today, and they're like, all right guys, this is the scope, this is the directive from Microsoft. We're building a game, and these are all of the platforms that it has to work on. The scope of all their decisions have to go through a memory bottleneck on Series S, limited power on Switch 2, and whatever they're using for upscaling. Then they have to consider, well, what could we do with the PS5 Pro and PSSR and advanced ray tracing? What could we do with these new NVIDIA cards over here? That to me feels like almost like choice paralysis in a video game where you don't even know where to start. $5 years? Yeah, like if a company right now is starting a project, 5 years from now, it will launch. Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and Hogwarts Legacy did it, but they were ported to the Switch. Yeah, well, I know about Hogwarts. I don't know about Kingdom Come Deliverance. Hogwarts Legacy was ported by a company called Shiver, and I believe Nintendo's acquired them. Like, that's literally what they do. That's their specialty, porting games to Switch. Those guys are going to have a lot of work to do for Switch 2. Yeah, that's not even mentioning if they want things running on handheld or being Steam Deck verified and stuff like that. I don't know. You're right. I don't mind them trying to port to the Switch, but I don't like the idea of it being a hard limit on performance. Well, forget the Switch. What about the Series S? 5 years from now, do you want games landing that had to deal with that memory bottleneck? Like, I just think I'm very, very interested in how this publishing effort from Xbox goes, because you're going to have guys like Machine Games and id Software pull it off because they're masters of their craft. They're really good at optimization. But a lot of these other studios don't have experience in this regard. And then you have Unreal 5 coming in the mix and complicating things as well, because a lot of the studios have had issues with UE5. I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting experiment. Upscalers shouldn't matter. The game just needs to be fed the same data to any of them, and then need the upscaler to do all the work on its end. DLSS versus PSSR versus Nintendo shouldn't matter. Right, but Zuby, wouldn't that mean, though, you've had to have tested a game? Let's say internally, Nintendo's works the best with an internal at like 720. Well, don't they have to test the stability of that to make sure that that's going to work well? Dropping a game all the way down there, especially the thing that Nintendo patented, Zuby, didn't seem like the same type of upscaling we're seeing with PSSR and DLSS. It seemed like it was literally talking about getting the install size down. So like textures are loaded into the game at a lower resolution, not the game rendering internally at a lower resolution. It could be completely different technology. Based on the patent that we read, it could be very different. I don't know. I'm not doomsdaying. I'm just saying I don't see a lot of devs doing this, and there might be a really good reason why. It could be just like trying to swallow an elephant. The optimizing for the Series S is like optimizing for low-end PC specs. It is in their interest to make sure things can run to maximize dollars. No, it is not. It is not in their interest to make sure things can run on the lowest power of hardware, because the floor of minimum specs continues to go up. You're going to see more and more games, the growing trend, 16 gig minimum for RAM is just going to continue to show up. The more and more that happens, and the more the average PC consumer in the market, I'm talking about the ones that spend money, not the one that has a gaming laptop and they play Among Us on it or something. I'm talking about people that are in the market raising the floor and purchasing, right? The average purchasing consumer on Steam raising the floor and having 16 gig RAM minimum. That's going to continue to have developers building games where like that's the minimum spec requirement. More and more games are coming out where 16 gig RAM is minimum, and that's going to make the Series S slide off the table even faster. It's in their interest because 30 million customers bought the Series S. It's not in their best interest if it slows down production and hurts profit. It's not. Also, the customers, it's not 30 million, by the way, that own Series S. It's a percentage of that own the Series S. That consumer base is showing that they don't like to buy games. They don't like to spend money. So you're going to prioritize the smallest amount of consumers. If you add up all of the mid-level PCs and higher, mid-level meaning they've got at least 16 gig of RAM and a decent card, mid-level PCs and higher, add all those people up, add up all the PS5s, add up all the potential Nintendo Switch 2s. The Series S is nothing in that equation. It's nothing, especially when you look at sales trends of that platform. You're talking, I don't know, 17 million, maybe 20 million Series S's in circulation compared to the monsoon of people on PC, and then 60-something million PlayStation 5 Pros in circulation, and then the Nintendo Switch 2. If it even trends anywhere close to the first one just hit 150 million. It's closer to 25 to 28. I mean, whatever it is, wherever the Series S lands, it's the smallest. It's such a small footprint of consumers. Low-end PCs are more capable than the S. People can just add RAM, and a lot of them have. That's what I mean. Like, if you look at the revenue, if you look at the revenue generating consumers and the type of PCs that they're on, it's evident in the PC game trends that we're seeing. Minimum specs are hitting 16 gig far more often. What is this guy saying? February 6th. He's saying the GTA 6 trailer, the date was in front of our eyes, but we never noticed. Feb 6. The license plate has F6 on it. That's probably been photoshopped. Let me go to images. I think that's been photoshopped. No, it hasn't. F6 is right there on the license plate. And isn't that when their earnings call is? Take-Two earnings call 2025. When's their next earnings call? Is it Feb 6? I thought they announced it recently. I can't find it. All I'm getting reports on is their earnings calls last year. No, right here. Take-Two Interactive earnings call has been set for February the 6th. I mean, VEV, yeah, it definitely is F6 right there on the license plate. That does seem to be a pretty... I don't know if people are just thirsty. It's a pretty interesting coincidence. Yo, what's good, Alex Mercer? Just want to send some support. Thank you for the $2 super chat tip. I appreciate you. It's an interesting coincidence that when they have their earnings call, Feb 6, we have an F6 right there on the license plate. I don't know. An earnings call sounds riveting. Well, in my mind, if they're going to be... If they're going to be booting, if they're going to be getting on this call and establishing confidence in the launch date of that game, they're going to have a trailer in and around that time. I don't think that is that surprising. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 PS5 Pro runs base quality mode at over 70 FPS and 4K. The base consoles do 1440-30 in quality compared to the 4K 60 on the Pro. The devs have added a performance mode on base consoles too. The Pro has higher FPS than the same scene. Did they push out a patch? There was no performance and quality mode in the settings when I installed and played the game. I don't know if they've pushed out a patch. I don't have performance and quality modes in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Evidence with 24 months of memberships. Developing for PC is not the same as developing for consoles. Certification process is only required for consoles. The game must meet specific... Y'all mother effers got Rockstar derangement syndrome. I don't even know if it's Rockstar derangement syndrome. I think it's GTA 6 trailer 2 derangement syndrome. That's what I think. They just want that second trailer so dadgum bad. Listen, Listen, excuse me. Listen, in defense of the people that are like ravenously waiting for that trailer, to be fair, they did drop a trailer for like the biggest and most anticipated game of a generation, and then said nothing for, and have said nothing for 13 months. Yo, it's good, Purple Haze. I'm here to tell you, man. Let's a couple more questions, and we're coming up on the 3-hour mark on the stream. All right, I've been letting you guys extend if we hit milestones. So if you get the first 100 members of the week, we'll extend the stream. We'll keep going. A lot of times we've turned it into a more personal, more AMA thing just for members. That's something that you guys can drive. We would need 41 more. So I'll give you guys like 17, 18 minutes or so to do that. You guys have been crushing it with those goals. You can help with those goals by renewing your existing memberships. Just celebrate them. That $ at the bottom will let you do that. All right? Let's take some questions here as we do that. Joker Quinn says, do you think that upcoming games like Yote and Intergalactic will be better showcases for the Pro, being that the PSSR will be baked in and not just added? Well, I don't know if PSSR can ever be quote-unquote baked in. My understanding of the technology is that you tap into it. You don't necessarily bake it in, but they could certainly optimize and build with it in mind, right? If Sucker Punch went silent for over a year, Lono would be just as deranged. Yeah, if they dropped the Yote trailer and didn't say anything for 13 months, I'd be like, say something! Now, sometimes I'm different. Like a teaser like Wolverine, I'm like, oh, that's just a teaser. I just think GTA 6 is in its own hemisphere of expectations. Like, they dropped that trailer, and I think people expected to be getting, you know, some regular updates, trailers, blog posts, screenshots, something. I'm sure this is a genuine comment. Yes. So yeah, I don't necessarily know if you can bake PSSR into a game, but you can design the game, and from earlier stages of optimization, you can understand like, oh, we can use PSSR. I don't necessarily know if it can be quote unquote baked in. And the Chronos rounds us out with a 29-month renewal, and that puts us at 60. We'll see if any of the big boys come in and start dropping the 10s, the 20s, and the 50 bombs. Thank you so much, Chronos. And a $5 super chat tip gets us a little bit closer to some confetti. Street Shadow says PC development also has certification processes, so it's not true that only consoles have it. I work in game publishing on the business side. Well, there you go. There you go. You still got to go through certification on PC from someone in the business. Ashton says, I was completely calm and rational when the Elden Ring trailer dropped, and then heard nothing for over a year. You were completely calm and rational? Are you sure about that? Christopher Burnett says, I think they've had one of the voice actors from GTA 6 right in front of us for 2 years, with Brian Zampella posting some really convincing videos on his social media channels. Kage Williams says, Marvel Rivals recently eclipsed its all-time player count on Steam. It's showing consistent and even rising player numbers. What, if any, effect do you think this will have on the industry? It's one more gigantic PvP live service game that put lightning in a bottle. I didn't say they caught lightning in a bottle, you'll notice. I say they put lightning in a bottle. Not everybody has the ability to quite literally just put the lightning in the bottle. If you have the Marvel property and you have all those Marvel characters, that's you saying we can put lightning in a bottle. And that's seemingly what they did. They didn't catch it. It wasn't like, oops, oh man, we can't believe Fortnite Battle Royale blew up. This is Marvel property being leveraged. Like, no, we're gonna make this game really popular. PSSR is like DLSS. What will likely happen is that PSSR will be a default upscaler and games will be built from the ground up already using it, not patched in, so all the optimizations will already have PSSR to take into account. Well, and hopefully what the guys from Black Ops 6 learned about like denoising it will help. This guy here says the one the one no reeler. He says, great video, definitely got a new subscriber. I love hearing truth and appreciate you giving very logical and sensible explanation of how having games everywhere doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to make more money. On top of the fact that Xbox does not even have a solid track record of providing great quality exclusives anyway. If anything, more people will see the bad quality that will continue to happen, as you mentioned, spreading themselves too thin, or how games, when they first come out and are not even in their best condition or even worth buying, like Redfall or Starfield, but then again have a horrible track record of even managing multiple things well. So honestly, I'm excited to see the train wreck. I will say it's a little irritating listening to biased fans that won't admit the truth that they full well know. We've seen Microsoft lie about what they will never do again and again. This is a long, lengthy comment. Great. Anyway, great video. I'll check out your streams too. Thank you so much. Very kind. I appreciate that. It's a bit of a book. I read about half of his comment. That was a long comment. From what I can see, Brian Zimpala has never been involved in video game, yet he's doing stuff with two of the biggest voice actors in the industry from GTA 5. Disney getting a lot of money for Marvel Rivals. Yeah, to me, Marvel Rivals just put lightning in a bottle, and it just makes things even more complicated for all future PvP live service games. You know? Hit a video with someone named Lucia in the video. Another video with somebody saying Roger Clark read the script and he's from Red Dead Redemption 2. Huh. Marvel Rivals is at 2.5 million players. The most valuable thing right now in the entertainment industry is recognizable IP. Taka-chan says, Halo on PlayStation seems unrealistic to me. I mean, nothing is off the table, but I'll believe it when it's announced. People said the same thing about many other games for me and not give leaks a side eye. Hi-Fi, Sea of Thieves, Indiana Jones, all leaked. And these are sources that were in denial for a while. The people saying that Halo is coming to PlayStation, these are the people that were somewhat in denial about this for a while. They're like, no, it's not happening. Or they would say things like when Paris Lily said, you know, when the big first party titles go, you can start to get the pitchforks. Like, I don't think he anticipated them reaching this far into the catalog. I think folks like him, I know Destin Legary said, that's all it took. He said that's all it took for everybody to get upset. It's a couple of B-tier games, referring to Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, and those first four as B-tier games. Right? Remember the famous GIF that Destin made of himself pulling his Series S back out of the trash can when it said that the four games were not Starfield and Indiana Jones? Well, now that Indiana Jones is going, I don't know. Is it halfway in until Starfield goes? Like, you see what I'm saying? The fact that the people that were like, not happening, or it'll only be small titles, or you can get the pitchforks out if the big first party stuff goes, they're all saying now their whole tune has changed. They're like, yeah, it's all going. Do you want to know why? Because they all have contacts, and all of their contacts said, it's over. It's over. Nothing is sacred. Nothing is safe. All bets are off. Everything's going. I told you guys a couple of weeks ago, I said that. When Jez had his tweet about Fable going to PlayStation and people couldn't believe it, I said, I feel like he got nudged by somebody. Somebody on the inside told him, oh yeah, everything's going, dude. It'll either get ported later or it's going to land day and date. Nothing's safe. I told y'all that happened. I was like, I'm pretty sure he got a little nudge. So now they're all changing their tune because what else are you going to say? You can go like this and la 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 la. No, it's not happening. I mean, it's happening. You just got to figure out a way to talk about it in a way that's either honest or at some level spin it as a positive, I guess. All good, Lono, just working and lurking as usual. Streams help pass the time. Oh, thank you, Alex. Team Green's gone bonkers. They're still saying Black Myth has a deal. I remember Destin saying that Starfield would never come to PlayStation, and then he immediately was saying, well, maybe in 4 to 5 years. At this point in time, Starfield needs some kind of a 2.0 moment. The current version of Starfield and how it has landed with the public and how Shattered Space landed, I can't see that they can't just bring that version over. Don't see it. AOZ says it's the best deal ever, a free deal. Yeah, it's the best deal ever. It costs no money. Do you want to know what the deal was? I'll tell you what the deal was. This is what happened. One company has a history of being far more willing to lean in and be like listening to the developers. Another company, we now have it on very good authority, is really bad about responding to developers. Yeah? So, PlayStation helps with the development of Black Myth Wukong to come to PlayStation, and it leads to them getting priority. That's the deal. No money, no quid pro quo, no contract signed, just, oh, well, you're helping us. Well, I mean, then you're going to get priority. That's it. That's the deal. Starfield's much better now with all the community mods. I ain't going to do anything for a PlayStation launch. And Joker Quinn gifts a member. He says, boys, we got 6 minutes. He's like, come on, stoke the fires. We'll extend the stream. There's still a lot of people here. All right, let's get 13 more likes as well. Let's try to get 400 likes. We're trying to get our first 100 members of the week, and we'll extend the stream if we do, and then you guys get to kind of take over the stream with your questions. And Sledgehammer Games multiplayer development director Greg Reisdorf has announced he has left the studio after 15 years. He worked on all of Sledgehammer Games' Call of Duty titles over the years. Oh, man. It's starting. All right, talent exodus. Mr. B says, do you think PlayStation is going to port their games to Switch too? We've had this question, and I actually think it wouldn't make my jaw drop if they ported PlayStation 4 games like Spider-Man 1. And they see it as like an additive market. And they're like, hey, they can play Spider-Man 1. But if they want to play Spider-Man 2, they need a PS5. Give them Horizon Zero Dawn. Ant is going to help out by renewing his VIP. Thank you so much, Ant. And that gets us to 62. You guys are on a multi-week. There it is. Patrick Q is going to help. He's like, get a member train going, boys. You guys have multiple weeks now of extending streams by gifting at the buzzer. So you guys have 5 minutes. Astrobot will go to the Switch. Oh, no, it won't. Astrobot's built around the DualSense controller. That's nonsense. They would never do that. Astrobot is quite literally a commercial for the PlayStation, and it's just nothing but nostalgia for PlayStation titles, and it's built around the DualSense. That will never happen. That would be an insane development. I can't see that ever happening. But I could see them porting over PS4 titles and then being like, well, I mean, if you want to play the sequel, you're gonna have to buy a PlayStation 5 if you want to play the sequel. I mean, I don't know or think. I don't know if they'll do that. I don't know. I really don't. Especially if they're trying to launch their own handheld. If the rumors about the PlayStation handheld are to be believed, it might be counterproductive to put games on the Switch. Reforge is wrong with this one. Wrong with what? God of War and Spider-Man to Xbox would make Sony a metric butt ton of money? No, it wouldn't. No, it would not. It's no. Do you guys honestly? You can't honestly think that. It would not make them a metric butt ton of money. It's a platform that always has the worst sales ratios, and they'd have to do so much work to get I guess the PS4 versions wouldn't have a huge issue running Series S. They wouldn't go over there and make a ton of money. I think they'll port Astrobot to Switch because it's the audience that plays those types of games. Astro on Switch. You guys are dreaming if you think PlayStation's going to do that. Astrobot is quite literally the mascot for the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation platform. That's the mascot of the platform now. And putting a game that from the ground up is designed around the DualSense controller is in the game. You fly on it. There is quite literally no way they put Astrobot on the Nintendo Switch. That would be insane. That would be insane. That'd be like putting Astrobot on the PC. They're saying that the surprise IP at the Xbox Developer Direct is Japanese. I won't spoil it, but our sources indicate it's a new entry in a legendary Japanese IP which has decades of history and should make a lot of fans happy. Oh, Final Fantasy's going to be there, sounds like. Astrobot will almost certainly never land on other platforms. Astrobot going to PC too? What? Why? You guys are silly. You guys are absolutely silly. You're out of your head if you think they're putting Astrobot on other platforms. It sold well. Little Homie sold well, but not well enough to justify putting that game on other platforms. Absolutely not. The last thing they're going to do is task that studio with porting a game designed around their console, their DualSense, and port it to other platforms where you won't get any of that. There is literally no way. Y'all are nuts if you think they're going to do that. It makes way more sense for them to target specific titles that will be winsome to the PC audience. Like even Sackboy did so commercially not impressive at all on PC. And I don't think Ratchet did that well either on PC. Confirmed Astrobot a Switch 2 launch title. Sure, Jan. Sure. I bet the game sells more copies on Switch 2. No, what? No, why would it sell? Well, I mean, I guess if they had enough Switch 2s in circulation. There's 65 million PS5 Pros PS5s in circulation, and Astrobot didn't go insane. It didn't sell insanely high. I do not think they're going to risk taking that game, ripping all of the tech out of it, and putting it on the Switch. You guys are talking crazy. A 10 spot from Otavio Cruz. Only people that didn't play Astrobot would think it could be ported to other places. It would lose so much of its gameplay mechanics. Yeah, there's literally things in the game that wouldn't work. You've not played the game if you think Astrobot's going to PC or Switch. For real. It's built around PlayStation. It's built around PlayStation's history. It's built around the PlayStation controller and the PlayStation console. And you think they're going to put it on the Switch and PC. Okay. All right. And only 1.5 million copies? That's what I mean. That's quite literally why they wouldn't bother putting it anywhere else. It did its job. They have a mascot that's beloved. It sold a good amount of copies for the type of game that it is, and they're going to probably make another one. They are not going to port that game to the Switch or the PC. You guys are on a weird wavelength with that one. Ain't no way. Ain't no way you task a studio to build a game that centers itself around your hardware and your controller, and you're going to put it somewhere else. No. I see a bunch of New Year's resolutions didn't include stop day drinking or taking psychedelics in the afternoon. That's what I'm saying. You're picking the worst target for a prediction. You want to talk about like God of War 2018 or Horizon Zero Dawn or Spider-Man 1, and I'd be like, yeah, maybe, because they're PS4 games that they could then coax people to be like, that was really fun, I want to play the sequel. But Astrobot? That's the PlayStation mascot. The controller is endemic to the experience. You're drunk if you think they're putting that anywhere else. You're drunk. Like, I can't even take it serious. You're either trolling or you're nuts. It's one or the other. It's one or the other with that prediction. That would be like saying they're going to put Zelda on the PlayStation or Mario on the PlayStation. Astrobot has ascended to a status of he will never be anywhere else. He will never be anywhere else. He is not just some first-party studio, with cutesy pie graphics. He's the man now. He's the man. He's a platform mascot. These people are not thinking of licensing all the characters that are on Astrobot for Nintendo. There you go. Can you imagine licensing all that? I don't know if PlayStation can just say, oh yeah, we're going to put Jak and Daxter IP on a Nintendo. Like, I don't know how that could get complicated. You'd have a lot of potential licensing issues. I don't know how that works. I don't know if PlayStation can just do whatever they want with any game that's ever been on their system. Nintendo doesn't even tell people what studios even make their games. Yeah, they don't typically focus on studios. They focus on the games, and they focus on their own stuff. So... the Sony characters would be easy. The third-party characters would not. Yeah, there's third-party characters, and that's actually a better point. There's a lot of third-party characters in there, like Stellar Blade. That's not a first-party character. What you guys are talking about is insane. Like you've stepped all the way outside of reality into a diluted timeline. Team Asobi studio director Nicholas Doset noted in a recent uploaded interview with media outlet MinMax that the developer would love to hear from PC players who are eager to play Astrobot someday. I don't know. Developers sometimes say things like that just to be polite. What's he going to say? No, our game will never be playable on PC. He's like, oh yeah, I'd love to hear from PC players who are eager to play Astrobot someday. Yeah, they can play it on a PS5. Yeah, that's great. You guys are eager to play it? Cool. You can play it over here. I can't see them doing that. I know you can get DualSense support on a PC. I can't see PlayStation ever being okay with that. I can't. You wouldn't make enough money to justify doing it. Astrobot would not do enough gross sales on PC to justify that port. There's just no way. You could convince me it would sell well on Switch. I wasn't debating that. I don't think Astrobot would sell well enough on PC. That would not be worth it. The juice would not be worth the squeeze. To take your platform mascot, your game that centers around the console and the controller, and put it on PC? For what? Astrobot director has no power in that? Yeah, I would say he was just being polite. Again, you have to handle those interviews with grace. You can't be like, no, never going to happen, suckers. You got to be like, yeah, well, I'd love to hear from all the PC guys, that would like to play it someday. Yeah, they can play it someday when they decide to buy a PlayStation. It wouldn't matter to me. I don't give a frick. I'm just doing business analysis. I don't care where Astrobot ends up. Basic business analysis tells me ain't no way they would do that. It wouldn't be worth it. There are not a lot of young gamers that own PCs. Yeah, that generational target that Astrobot hit with like my kiddos, Again, I know it would probably sell incredibly well on the Switch, but there's no way they're going to do that because you don't have a DualSense over there. We don't know about PlayStation doing their own launcher. There's been speculation that they want to. Me next to the entire script of Kingdom Come Deliverance that was printed on double-sided paper, 2 pages per side. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is double the content. Jiminy Christmas. That's ridiculous. Oh, we went over. Oh, well. If the Super Nintendo Switch is just a more powerful Switch, in my opinion, that's a good thing. Nintendo figured out the formula of hybrid that plays AAA games on the go and in your living room television. No need to reinvent the wheel. A more powerful Switch means more third-party games. My question is, what can Nintendo do to innovate that doesn't feel like an unneeded gimmick? I hope they prove me wrong, but I won't be disappointed if they continue doing what they started with the Switch. I think that was Paris Lilly saying that. I actually kind of agree with what he's saying. I think their greatest chance for innovation would be maybe better motion controls or just things with the Joy-Cons in general. Outside of that, I don't think you need much. I don't think you need to innovate much. I don't think you need to change much. I tend to agree with him. I think you just need it to be a more appealing platform to broader consumers, as well as the publishers themselves. Like, more publishers are going to want to be on those platforms. I'm sorry, on Switch. Like, more publishers are going to be like, we've got to be over there, especially if you're no longer encountering issues with power. So, Astrobot's definitely got going to the Switch. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some wild predictions and wild takes in my day, but that's a wild one. Respectfully, Reforge, you could say the same thing about Halo on PS5. Why would Xbox put their mascot on their platform? Astrobot's coming to Switch, take it to the bank. What you're doing is called false equivalency. PlayStation's in a dominant position. Xbox is not. Xbox has pivoted fully into third-party publisher. PlayStation is not. You're making your prediction based off either no information or bad information, making your prediction ignorant and not accurate. So, think about it from this perspective. Microsoft and Xbox have been signaling for 24 months that they are changing their business and changing their approach. PlayStation has not signaled that. PlayStation has signaled that they will have a dual approach. Live service games go day and date to PC, and your big tentpole narrative-driven titles will go to PC in the hopes that it coaxes people to come over to the PlayStation for the sequel. Astrobot, being a game that centers around the technology of the PlayStation and the DualSense controller, landing on a platform where you can't have a DualSense controller, would therefore require to have entire segments of the game and mechanics to be rebuilt. There is quite literally no way that you see that as an equivalency to Halo. Halo doesn't require an Xbox controller. Halo doesn't require you to engage with Xbox technology in order to play the game. It is the mascot. It is the icon. That's why I uploaded a video today saying nothing is sacred. Nothing. Halo was like the last idol in the temple, the last edifice in the temple of Xbox that might have stayed protected. No, it is no longer sacred. PlayStation has sacred cows. PlayStation has a business strategy and approach that is 100% not in line with what Xbox is doing. So they have not signaled anything that would tell me you would take a piece of property that was developed from the ground up to showcase the DualSense and the console and give it to a Nintendo. There is literally no way. It doesn't make an ounce of business sense. This will get clipped as Seething Malding Pony is worried that Nintendo will get Astrobot. Write it down. That's not what I'm saying. From a business analysis perspective, there is no way they do that with Astrobot. There isn't. It would make way more sense to take something like God of War 2018 or Spider-Man 1 Because then what Herman Hulse said, if they want to play the sequel, they're being coaxed to come to the PlayStation 5. Putting Astrobot on the Switch doesn't serve any of those purposes. Street Shadow with a $5 super chat, and he makes confetti. Here's what we have to see with Xbox is that they don't see their IP as mascots anymore. Their IP that can be monetized. Like, Astrobot literally has third-party like property in it that was licensed and agreed with PlayStation and all those old PlayStation games. That doesn't make any sense to put that on another platform. You'd have to go through so much like licensing agreements with all those companies. If they, oh yeah, we're going to put the game over there, well then your property is going to be over there as well. I don't think so. And that means I owe you guys 5 members. That means I bumped this to 68. You guys are getting an extension even though we didn't hit it. I didn't give you guys fair enough warning. I'll give you another 17 minutes. I'll give you another 17 minutes. I'll keep going till 2 o'clock. And then we got to get out of here and go to Green Room unless you guys hit 100 members. They might need permission from all those IP owners. That's exactly right, Pacey Games. What you're predicting is just ignorant. It's like, make a decent prediction. Spider-Man 1. You know, Spider-Man 1 would be a decent prediction. But again, now you got to go talk to Marvel and Disney. God of War 2018, Horizon Zero Dawn. And Joker Quinn bumps the line to 69. Nice. You know, those are decent predictions. Why? It centers things around the console. It does. Perfect Image says you're wrong. He's not wrong. Microsoft makes it very clear they don't have mascots anymore. That's not their goal. A mascot is to drive you to the console. Mario, traditionally Halo, now Astrobot. Taking your mascot, you have this you have this media darling massive amount of praise and excitement around your title that quite literally represents your platform. You're not going to throw that away on some other platform like the very next year. Just the idea that Nintendo would allow Sony to run a 5-hour playable commercial for PlayStation on the Nintendo is crazy talk. Yeah, you think Nintendo would even be okay with that? Nintendo might be like, no. No way. Oh, you're talking like that? I get it. I'm not sure what you're trying to say, Perfect Image. Crash Bandicoot used to be a PlayStation mascot. Mascots can certainly change and change ownership and change where they land. Astrobot just came out and won Game of the Year. And it is it's literally a walking commercial for PlayStation, and it's built around the DualSense. You have to remember, PlayStation is in the business of making excellent hardware. Everything centers around the console. PSVR 2, the Portal, the DualSense Edge. It all centers around the console. To take that hardware-centric strategy, create a mascot, the game centers around your hardware, wins Game of the Year, and throw it on a platform where you would have to task your developers with completely reworking all the mechanics, that is quite literally a delusional prediction. They would never do that. Again, I respectfully disagree. I know it made its money back, but 1.5 million copies isn't a lot. Yes, it is. I think it would sell 10 million copies on Switch. Makes perfect sense to me. First and foremost, 1.5 million copies is a lot. Your opinion is superfluous to how many that is. It's a factual thing that it's a lot. For a studio of that size and budget to sell 1.5 million copies, and by the way, its lifetime sales will be much higher than that. That actually is a lot. Your opinion is irrelevant. It's a lot for a studio that size. Any studio that size breaking 1 million copies is a huge achievement. Second, selling 10 million copies on Switch. Okay. First and foremost, maybe. Right? Maybe. Second, the idea This is what we have to entertain here. We're entertaining the idea that PlayStation would allow their new Game of the Year crowned mascot. You want that studio to rebuild all of the mechanics, all the systems, basically rebuild the entire game, to the point that the DualSense controller can no longer be the centerpiece of the game. It can't be. The way you interact with the different abilities, the way you interact with entering the levels, the way you interact with decorating it, right? They're going to have to take all that out of the game and, I guess what, make you fly around on a Nintendo Switch Joy-Con? And if they don't do that, you hope that then Nintendo's okay with it. And you also then hope that all the third-party licensed property in the game is okay with it. What you're talking about is delusional. There's no way you'd get through all those challenges. There's no way there'd be motivation for them to do that. There just isn't. You'd have to cut through all those issues, all those potential problems. I don't see it happening. Yeah. If they did, it would be amazing to see it sell 10 million copies and for that studio to get, a ton of reinvestment and funding. But I'm here to tell you there's too many hurdles in the way. Too many. Thanks for the gifted member. Yo, good to see you, Gabriel. Guys, in 12 minutes, we're going to go to the green room. We need 31 more members. If you guys want to extend, thank you for 400 likes on the stream. I did not reset the super chat goal. I will. We always reset that if you guys want to make confetti. I know some of you guys prefer super chats over gifting members. Yeah, I've seen the video comparing the mechanics and how they definitely use a lot of mechanics that were in Mario games before. An exclusive game that just won Game of the Year, Sony. Yeah, let's put this game on the Switch and totally rework the mechanic instead of just using the accolades to get new consumers. Again, allergic to logic. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, and I'm being told that porting to Nintendo can actually be a lot of work, especially if the game has a lot of PS5 specific technology. What you're describing is just something I don't see that PlayStation greenlighting. That's like putting Mario on PC or PlayStation. It doesn't make sense. I think that people really have a hard time understanding just how different PlayStation and Nintendo are when it comes to their stuff. Like they treat their platform, they treat their IP, they treat their studios. They treat them very, very differently. And I think the big thing now, the big cope that everybody's trying to do is, you'll see this more and more going forward. Oh, well, PlayStation's doing the same thing. PlayStation's doing the same thing. You'll see it from all these guys. They're all saying it. They're like, everybody's doing this. Everybody's going third party. Everybody's putting their games everywhere. And they cite the most illogical, most asinine, most false equivalency examples you could ever see. There's so much disingenuine astroturfing going on. It's like they're trying to make it seem like this is where the industry's going. No, it's not. It's where Xbox is going. You're not going to see Nintendo starting to put their games on Xbox. You're not going to see PlayStation starting to put their games on Xbox. PlayStation has a very specific strategy with PC, and it's not what Xbox did. It isn't. The idea that you're going to somehow cope with the disappointment of what the brand did by acting like everybody's doing it. It's like there just is no evidence to that. I also think there's a fundamental misunderstanding of why Xbox is porting games. Yes, exactly. PlayStation puts games on PC for very different reasons than Xbox putting Gears of War on PlayStation. Xbox is putting Gears of War on PlayStation because Microsoft is in charge now. And Microsoft said, we see the number for Minecraft. We see the numbers for Call of Duty. Let's do more of that. Gears of War will likely do incredibly well on the PlayStation platform. It'll probably be very popular. They're doing it for that reason. PlayStation literally tells their shareholders, we put our big tentpole titles on PC hoping that those people might end up on PlayStation to play a sequel. And the PC guys can seethe and maul and laugh about this all they want. 20 million people came from somewhere. There's 20 million people in the PlayStation 5 system and funnel right now that didn't have a PS4. They came from somewhere, and I got news for you. It ain't all Xbox. It isn't. Even in our own little community here, we have a handful of people who bought a PlayStation because they didn't want to wait on Ragnarok. They didn't want to wait on the sequel. And you start seeing games, they start to land at the PS5 Pro enhancements, and you start seeing games like Wolverine land and Yote and others. You start seeing some of these first-party studios swing heavy in the second half of this gen, and you're going to have a lot of people saying, I don't want to wait. 700 is not that much money in the grand scheme of waiting and upgrading and PC part prices and graphic cards prices. There's going to be a ton of people that are like, 700 is not that bad. Now, if they're heavily invested and they're looking at some of the prices of like the one card is like 550, they might second guess that decision and say, no, I'm staying where I am. I got a huge library here, and that price could be good. Now, we don't know how well FrameGen will be utilized, how many developers are going to tap into it and do a good job, what it's going to do to input latency and input delay. But these two companies are taking a completely different approach. And the only people saying that it's everybody's doing it and they're all doing it and it's all the same, the only people doing that are the same, the same people who said this would never happen. It's funny how the dialogue shifted from this will never happen to it's happening, everybody's doing it. It's like, wait, what? Your predictive powers are kind of not very good, so I'm not going to go with, oh, everybody's doing it, everybody's going to go this direction, since months before this happened, you claimed a lot of these outlets and commentators and YouTubers were saying it would never happen. Your predictive powers are bad, so I wouldn't trust that everybody's going to do this. It's not conceivable that you would suddenly disrupt entire structures of revenue and operating costs and start telling your studios, yeah, you got to build for every platform now. That's not going to be a thing. That's not a future. That's an ideologue's wet dream, because they think the gaming world would be so much better if every developer made games for every single platform, because that would certainly lead to better games. Yes, tell developers that over the next 5 years, they have to build all of their games for PCs, PS5, PS5 Pro, Series S, Series X, and the Nintendo Switch 2. That will certainly be, that'll lead to better quality games. Yeah, that'll be great. That'd be great. That litany of hardware power and technology differences and power differences, that will certainly not be a hindrance to the quality of the games at all, because it's just automatically better if the game is everywhere. Only said by ideologues. Anybody with a brain, anybody with a sense of reason or logic, or I don't know, actually works on making games, would never say that that's where things are headed. Because all you're going to do is mushroom already mushrooming budgets, and then you're going to get lesser quality products. That's industry implosion. Everything would just fold in on itself. Let's just mushroom the budgets even higher. Let's make the projects and the games take even longer to come to market, and then when they do, they're all this non-innovative, diluted, nothing games that probably don't even run that well, because we had to design it for everything from the Switch 2 to the Series S to PC to the PS5 Pro. Oh yeah, we'll get great games if that comes to fruition. These people don't understand what has led to some of the best games, some of the most iconic games, were games built for a system. That's what you got. That's when you got quality. And now we're in this weird, like, anti-corporation, it's us versus them mantra diatribe nonsense where, some guy will sit in his room and scream and yell about how, games should be everywhere and it's anti-consumer, exclusives are anti-consumer. I tell you what, putting games everywhere is anti-quality, and I don't want it. I don't want it. It's a huge concern I have for the publishing efforts from Xbox going forward. It's a huge concern that I have. To suddenly have your devs and your studios building games for literally every system out there. I just think that's I don't know. All right, we got 3 minutes. I'm going to schedule Green Room. If you are not on a Member Plus or a VIP membership, you cannot come with us. We've been ending the day now in the Green Room. Gifted members get into morning coffee. Gifted members get into Fridays with Hilly and Friday nights with my wife. But we wanted to start giving more content to folks who are supporting the channel directly, and you can upgrade. It's a $6 membership. It's $1 more, and it doesn't just support me directly, it gets you into more content. I have a prediction: Xbox will team up with PlayStation, Nintendo, TVs, Fire Sticks, refrigerators, stoves, microwaves, exercise bikes, mirrors, cars. I'm more concerned about developers. Optimizing is non-existent now. Turn on frame gen is what passes for optimization. Who's doing that? Who's doing that? Everybody keeps turning upscalers and frame gen into the boogeyman. Who's not optimizing their game and just leaning on frame gen outside of like Black Myth Wukong on PlayStation? Is there a pattern in the market of games doing this? I don't think that's going to come to fruition. I don't think you're going to have a bunch of studios be like, "We'll just shovel out a game that's not optimized and doesn't run well, because we will we'll just let frame gen and upscaling clean it up." That's not how that technology works. The Wukong guys did it, and seemingly they did it because they were having trouble with optimization on console. It seemed like an unwise pivot. Like they moved their game to UE5 and they ran into problems, is what it felt like to me. No pattern, but it's the possibility that is scary. I don't think it's a possibility at all. I don't think it's a possibility at all. I don't think you're going to see a bunch of games and a bunch of studios decide that, hey, you know what? Screw optimizing. We'll just use frame gen and upscalers. After what happened with Black Myth Wukong on console, when how it performs, I know people are going to be like, oh, but it got good reviews and it sold really well. You can't count on that every single time. If your game comes out and runs like that because that's how you used frame gen, I don't think it would. I think people would be angry. Game science devs admitted they have a lot to learn about optimization. I think people are reading that in an intentional way to make it to shield the Series S from being blamed. They're like, we would need a couple more years of experience optimizing. Yes, and the context of that statement is optimizing with such a small amount of shared memory. There aren't a lot of studios out there that are good at that or experienced at that. Do you want to know how I know this? Larian struggled with it, and the Xbox engineers couldn't figure it out. It's their own dadgum hardware, and they couldn't help figure it out. So it's not a matter of like, yeah, they don't have enough experience. He was speaking specifically about like, we would need a couple more years of trying to figure out how to optimize in such a small amount of shared memory. Nobody reads that statement as a full statement. They rip that out and say, no, it's the dev's fault. Devs said they weren't experienced enough. And it's like, that's not what he said. He said they would need more experience optimizing in such a small amount of shared memory, the environment being the problem. Larian couldn't figure it out. Neither could Xbox engineers. 343 couldn't figure it out because they scrapped split screen. So apparently, even your first-party developers, even your own engineers, and even a studio like Larian couldn't figure it out. We got to go to Green Room. I'm not going to keep extending because I want to have time to work on uploads and work on content. So let me schedule this and set up redirect. We didn't extend. That's okay. You guys had a really, really strong streak there. Every streak gets broken eventually. And let me set up redirect. I'll give you guys a link because sometimes redirect doesn't work. This is a great reason to upgrade to Member Plus or to upgrade to VIP. You don't miss out on content. The day doesn't get cut short. No, I know you're not, Brett. There were a lot of people that tried to take what those guys said and really twist it and stretch it. I know that's not what you were doing, Brett. Plenty of people did that. So, all right, you can use the link in chat, or you can ride redirect to the green room. Hey, thanks for being a member plus or VIP or higher. We are now ending the day with the green room. This is a great reason to be at member plus or VIP. You get an entirely, extra segment at the end of the day. This basically has replaced writer's room. So you're still getting writer's room. You're still getting planning. You're still getting behind the scenes. This is essentially that now because we've been doing longer and longer streams. So I'm going to end the previous stream and redirect folks over, and then I will change that thumbnail because we're no longer live. So we didn't take Writer's Room away. We're just putting it into the green room because now sometimes I stream for 4 or 5 hours, and that kind of cannibalized Writer's Room. And gifted members can still get into Morning Coffee, the segment with Hilly, and Friday nights. But planning the next day and behind the scenes, I'm reserving that for paying members. So let me end that stream, and let me redirect. And let me change that thumbnail.